What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Tenso Chapter 351 Ina Shime's Spiritual World Chapter 351 Ina Shime's Spiritual World. Looking at the hard-earned 550,000 pretending points, and spending 500,000 on a one-time purchase, I didn't feel any distress at all. After all, Ina Shime's skills are very attractive and powerful, and as long as she learns it, she can conquer the enemy to a great extent. After purchasing it, Uchiha Qiye learned it quickly, and the subtlety of Inazami's skills was completely absorbed by Uchiha Qiye. This skill existed in the time of ancient ninjas, but it was too powerful and was sealed as forbidden technique, which did not spread at all. Advertisement Ina Shime has also been called the sealing techniques of the gods. No matter how powerful the other party is, as long as the mental power is lower than the magician, the person who is recruited will enter his own spiritual world in 14 minutes and never come out. In particular, people with deeper obsessions in their hearts will last forever in their spiritual world. In that, they will fulfill their dreams one after another, and then sink deeper and deeper, and will never wake up. In the vast universe, people's spiritual world is eternal, and the cosmic wave Qiye also saw his own spiritual world when he studied Ina Shime. It was a world of ninjas in a sea of fire. People killed each other, framed each other, and became countless corpses in one disaster after another. Such a scene of doomsday is so vividly displayed in the spiritual world of Uchiha Qiye. And as the only god in this world, he wants to save this world, so he did everything he could to use Rinnegan and Bloodwheel Eyes to eliminate the pain of this world. In this spiritual world, Cosmic Wave Kai's dream and achievement psychology have been greatly satisfied, but a spirit body that is on the sidelines has never disappeared. That is the body of Uchiha Qiye. He calmly looked at his obsessions and his views on the world. If someone really released Inayami to the Cosmic Wave Qiye first, then he would most likely fall into this situation. Never wake up in this state. Thinking of this, Uchiha Qiye opened his eyes with a sigh of relief. Ina Shime really lives up to its reputation. It can let anyone fall into the trap that he has made for himself and complete every challenge and dream. So who wants to wake up? Uchiha Qiye sighed. I wonder if Mi Hong will be defeated by my Inayami if he appears in front of me again? After learning Ina Shime, he took another look at the Sword of Slaughter. It took 1,000,000 pretend points to buy this supreme sword. It was really a long way to go. Uchiha Qiye walked down from the bed and came to the window sill. 857 looked at the sound of silence outside. People had already fallen into a dreamland. He thought that it would be over at this moment, and he thought about the next stop on the journey. Mi Hong, there must have been altars set up elsewhere, and he would have to smash them all to pieces. Just when I made up my mind to leave, I suddenly felt an evil spirit spread from the dam. This feeling suddenly made Uchiha Kai's nerves jump to the most tense level, because this evil aura is exactly what Mi Hong exudes. How unique. Chapter 352 Surprise. Mi Hong's Evil Breath Chapter 352 Surprise. Mi Hong's Evil Breath. That kind of evil, dark, and deep breath, who else could he be? He immediately opened the Eye of Eternity and looked directly at the dam, where the purple chakra, usually only visible to Kai's eyes, was burning vigorously. The Cosmic Wave Qiye once destroyed all those evil rituals downstairs at the dam, and now there are signs of gradual recovery. Uchiha Qiye thought, sure enough, it was Mi Hong who came to this place. Suddenly, Uchiha Qiye came to the deepest part of the dam, and the purple evil chakra arrogance became even more arrogant, as if he would meet Mi Hong if he took another step down. Uchiha Qiye clenched his fists tightly. If he could destroy Mi Hong in such a place, it would be great, it would take no effort at all. Finally, Uchiha Qiye walked down step by step, and came to the bottom of the ceremony. You can see that the ritual that had been destroyed is being restored on the ground. Outlining the previous state of the picture, Uchiha Qiye really made Uchiha Qiye feel it. Feel a sense of horror. In the darkness in the corner, a man lowered his head slightly wearing a black trench coat, like a crow, which made people feel a creepy atmosphere. Uchiha Qiye was not mistaken, it was indeed a person standing, exuding purple chakra evil arrogance. Although he couldn't see the man's face, Uchiha Qiye had completely determined that this man was Mi Hong. Advertisement So there was an extra heavenly thunder sword in his hand, and at this time, the sky was already rolling with thunder, piercing the entire sky. Uchiha Qiye said, Mi Hong, you dare to show up under my nose, go to hell. He showed the blade of the Thunder Spirit, ready to fight Mi Hong for a life and death battle. The voice of the man speaking does not seem to come from the body in front of him, but from the distant horizon. It is impossible to fathom the source of the voice, but it does have a feeling of being close in front of him, which makes the Cosmic Wave Qiye a little incomprehensible. Clear the situation. The man who had been wearing the black hat raised his head slightly at this time. Due to the light, the man's face could only be seen in the lower half, and his eyes were Eternal Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eyes on one side and Eternal Samsara on the other. The eye, of course, is Mi Hong without a doubt. With a buzzing sound, Uchiha Qiye stabbed Mi Hong with his sword without hesitation, but the moment he touched it, the opponent suddenly burst open. There was no flesh and blood, and there was no real sense of stabbing anything, which surprised Uchiha Qiye. Suddenly, Uchiha Qiye rushed over, and the Thunder God sword in his hand exuded an extremely strong murderous intent, which was unmatched when facing anyone in the land of water. Uchiha Qiye said, stop playing tricks with me here and die under my sword. He gave an evil laugh, echoing outrageous laughter in this dark hell, and finally said, Uchiha Qiye, you are really a simple little guy. Because there is only one real enemy for him, that is Mi Hong, and the battle with the people in the country of water is just to harvest and pretend to force Qian Li Jiao. Uchiha Qiye paused for a while, staring blankly at the place where Mi Hong was standing just now, and has completely disappeared. Chapter 353 Looking Forward to the Ultimate Battle of Fate. Chapter 353 Looking Forward to the Ultimate Battle of Fate. What is this? Phantom, Cosmic Wave Qiye has lost his mind. Suddenly, Mi Hong with the black hat stood beside the Cosmic Wave Qiye again, and he said, "Do you think you can hurt me half a point? It's useless." 99. Uchiha Qiye turned his head, looked at the man, and said, "What kind of trick is this, to send his own shadow to run over like a mouse in an attempt to restore this situation? It's really shameful, so I don't dare to be upright. Are you calling me?" Mi Hong split his mouth, revealing a set of white teeth. The teeth were like some kind of beast, and the sharp ones seemed to rush over to bite him. Mi Hong said, "Little guy, I have lived in this world for 2 full centuries, and no one can become my opponent. How many celebrities in history want to kill me, but no one can succeed at all, so do you." Of course Uchiha Qiye knows how long the lifespan of a person with a Rinnegan is. In fact, it can be infinite in theory, because even a junior Rinnegan can control time, distort space, and make use of time and space when he is getting old. The manipulation of the man brought him back to the state of his youth. So Rinnegan really is a veritable existence, and what Mi Hong said is not bragging at all. But Uchiha Qiye said, "So what? You lived so long to finally have eyes, and I, Uchiha Qiye, got 2 Rinnegans within a few years. You really failed Mi Hong." At this point, Mi Hong will not compete with Uchiha Qiye. After all, what he said is true. Mi Hong said, "I don't want to be quick to talk to you. I just hope you don't stop me. You can't stop me at all. This time you discovered my phantom, next time, again, you can't stop me from destroying this world." Uchiha Qiye shook his head. "No, I can." Thousands of birds chirped in his hands, and with a bang, it directly destroyed the barrier hidden in the dam of the land of water, and it was absolutely impossible to restore it. BECJ. Uchiha Qiye said, "This time, I have uprooted this enchantment. Even if you send more phantoms and clones, it will be useless." Mi Hong laughed evilly again and said, "You are a little guy, you really are. What do you think about destroying this place? I can still create more enchantments. You can't fully trace to me my plan. You can never destroy it." After finishing speaking, Mi Hong's phantom gradually disappeared little by little. Uchiha Qiye was left alone, and he was constantly resentful in his heart. This Mi Hong just didn't confront him head-on, and every time he fled, but he felt helpless for a while, because what Mi Hong said was correct. It is impossible to verify where Mi Hong's real body is staying at this time. The grief and anger in his heart were intertwined with a feeling of suffocation. Uchiha Qiye roared angrily, and the god of thunder in the sky seemed to feel his grief as well. There was a thunderous thunder, and thunderstorms poured down from the sky. Uchiha Qiye knew that sooner or later he and Mi Hong would have a fateful battle. Chapter 354. The Phantom Shadow Clone is desperately needed. Chapter 354. The Phantom Shadow Clone is desperately needed. I just don't know when it will come, but before that, Uchiha Qiye will definitely keep improving his strength, and when that day comes, he must be the perfect self in all aspects. After Uchiha Qiye completely destroyed the shadow barrier in the land of water, he flew to his own bedroom. At this time, the country of water finally had a thunderstorm after a few days of fog. Tiangong finally no longer wanted to endure, and a heavy rain started directly. After returning to the dormitory, Uchiha Qiye came to the bath, and waves of warm water washed his body, and a sense of failure kept lingering in his heart. Yes, I have to admit that this time Uchiha Qiye really failed and was played by Mi Hong's clone. And he couldn't answer Mi Hong's question at all. He bumped into him this time, and he could stop it, so next time. There will always be an undiscovered clone doing an evil plan in an unknown place, releasing Mi Hong's terrifying formation, and Uchiha Qiye has no time to stop this plan. Could it be that there will be a day when I don't know what to do? Before you know it, will the entire ninja world enter a state of fall? Uchiha Qiye asked himself, and it seemed that he couldn't find the answer at all, but he was definitely not a discouraged person. He would do everything possible to stop Mi Hong. Since Mi Hong will use the magic shadow clone to make his own plan, then the Cosmic Wave Qiye must also learn the role of the clone. If he divides one out, then the Cosmic Wave Qiye will divide out 10 to protect this world. Thinking of this, he is relieved. Advertisement. After taking a hot bath, Uchiha Qiye went back to his bed, turned on the system and looked for the clone technique, and found that the techniques of each clone technique are different, and the required points are also different. Some clone techniques only last for a few seconds or dozens of seconds, and some are physical clone techniques, which are equivalent to another self. It's true that time must not be wasted easily. If you want to acquire better skills, you can't be idle at all. You have to keep pretending to be able to protect the world. Suddenly, Uchiha Kai's eyes saw that the bright moon suddenly became someone's eyes, and it was engraved with the appearance of bloodwheel eyes, trying to release the strongest illusion on the ninjas in the whole world. He became alert all of a sudden. This must be the most evil ninjutsu released by Mi Hong, but just woke up. Uchiha Qiye actually realized that this was an illusion, that the incident just touched him too much. After making such a big move, I got 500,000 yuan. If I want to learn the magic shadow clone technique, I have to get 500,000 yuan. The night got deeper. Uchiha Qiye, who had finished taking a hot bath, stood in front of the window, looking at the bright moon and fell into contemplation. Uchiha Qiye has adjusted the top priority and placed the priority of obtaining the strongest two Shenjian at the back, and now it is the first priority to save the PowerPoint to obtain the magic shadow clone technique. And the real shadow clone technique, which can exist forever, actually requires 500,000 pretending points, which made Uchiha Qiye feel distressed for a while. Chapter 355 appears. The premier character of the Upper Konoha. Chapter 355 appears. The premier character of the Upper Konoha. Uchiha Qiye was in a cold sweat at this time. He returned to his bed and recalled everything that happened tonight. He felt that it might be an illusion or a divine revelation. Because this must be the moon that Mihong finally summoned, becoming the ultimate ninjutsu to destroy the entire ninja world. Therefore, his mood is even more urgent, and there will inevitably be more and more, 8 or 70, points of pretense that need to be obtained. Thinking about it, countless troubles invaded Uchiha Qiye, and he fell into a deep sleep. The sky was bright, and the cosmic wave Qiye was already in a desert at this time. The people of the Land of Water wanted to go to see the Battle of God earlier, but there was no trace of it at all. Since then, the Battle of God has become a codename, a legend. Uchiha Qiye walked in the desert for 2 full days with a heavy heart before returning to the Land of Fire. In the Land of Fire with beautiful scenery, Uchiha Qiye is a low-key existence. People know that he is the great elder of the Uchiha family, but people are reluctant to approach him because he is too mysterious and powerful, so he does not want to provoke him. Returning to the Cosmic Wave Qiye in his own group, he saw Nagato and Konan who were still cultivating here. Cosmic Wave Qiye told them about his experience in the Land of Water, and asked the two if they found any new traces. Nagato said, "This fantasy avatar is actually very mysterious. It has been handed down by our family from ancient times to the present, but it is extremely difficult to cultivate. I didn't expect Mihong to have achieved this step." Advertisement. Only then did Uchiha Qiye know that the original shadow clone is also a unique skill, and it is not something that can be practiced casually. But fortunately, he has the blessing of the system, otherwise, there is no hope of seeing tricks and dismantling tricks. Konan said, "I went to the Snow Country once and found that the Snow Country also has the breath of Mihong, and it is very evil. Nagato and I have tried our best to destroy the evil summoning circle. If you say that, maybe Mihong will use the shadow clone to recover in the next day." Uchiha Qiye has worries in his eyes. He feels that if this continues, he will definitely not be Mihong's opponent in a protracted battle. Now he has to cultivate shadow clone and spread it around the world as much as possible. Once Mihong is found to be in trouble, it's gone right away. Nagato said, "It would be great if we could find out Mihong's true form, but since the last fight, I can't feel his breath anymore because he has fundamentally changed." Nagato said this. Of course Uchiha Qiye also understood, that is because Mihong has transformed into a godhead. Not only the eternal Rinnegan, but also the eternal Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eye, the breath is naturally completely different. Uchiha Qiye said, finding his true body is not an easy task, and it seems that he can only grow in Japan. After finishing speaking, the senior officials of Konoha came to look for the Cosmic Wave Qiye, 2.9. There was a knock on the door, and Uchiha Qiye said, "Come in, 35. With a creak, the door was opened from the outside, and it was Jonin from Konoha village and Danzo, the elder of Anbu. This is a heavyweight figure. All the children of Konoha Anbu are all cultivated by Danzo, and his power and prestige belong to the leading figures among Konoha. Chapter 356 I'm Danzo, why don't you kneel down? Chapter 356 I'm Danzo, why don't you kneel down? Uchiha Qiye was sitting on the reclining chair in the same posture as a grandfather. After seeing Danzo coming in, he was still a little touched. After all, this is the boss of the former Konoha Anbu. He retired because he was old, but his power and strength deep-rooted connections are definitely a force to be reckoned with. Therefore, Danzo has a very high status in the entire Konoha village. Whether it is the current Naruto or the Major Jonin, Danzo will be very respected when he sees it. Danzo himself has long been accustomed to this feeling of being respected. Now seeing Uchiha Qiye returning to Konoha, he just became the elder of the Uchiha family, and he looked like he was doing a good job, which made Danzo a little bit suspicious, and even thought that Uchiha Qiye didn't look at him, clear people. So Danzo, with a tense face and an unhappy look, glanced at Uchiha Qiye who was still lying on the chair and said, Danzo, come to meet the new elder of the Uchiha family. Danzo thought that now Uchiha Qiye should have heard who it was, and thought that he should not be scared, so that the boy crawled down and rushed to see him. He's just a little boy in his early 20s, how could he not be afraid of the high-level Konoha, or the deep-rooted Danzo? You can clean up your entire Uchiha family with a touch of your finger? But Uchiha Qiye made people lie on the chair, his eyes were erratic, and he didn't care at all. After hearing Danzo's self-introduction, he moved his eyes to Danzo's body and said casually, "Oh, Danzo, take a seat, there's a seat there, 55. He suddenly realized that his behavior made this little Danzo very uncomfortable, so he got up, faced Danzo in a sitting position, smiled and said, "Of course you know, you haven't done it before. Did you introduce yourself? Why, don't you know yourself? 99. As soon as these words came out, Nagato and Konan, who were on the sidelines, sneered involuntarily. Danzo glanced at the small chair, and his face was already angry, so he glanced at Uchiha Qiye who was still lying on the chair with a bad look. Uchiha 870 Qiye stepped on the sky and stepped on the ground, and he didn't care about Hokage at all, and he didn't care about the former minister of Anbu at all, he was just a small role. It was the first time in his life that Danzo was treated so arrogantly, so his hands clenched into fists unconsciously. And it was made by the newly appointed elder of the Uchiha family, so this is different. Originally, the Uchiha family was attached to the Konoha, and it was a part of the Konoha. Hokage has always been afraid of the power of the Uchiha family, so he can use it if he can. It has always been in the embankment when not in use. If the people of the Uchiha family are honest enough, let them grow up with Konoha, but when it comes to Uchiha Kai's generation, it seems so arrogant, which Danzo never expected. When Danzo heard this, he didn't take him seriously at all. This Uchiha Qiye pointed to a very small chair next to him. This kind of hospitality was actually made by someone in the Uchiha family. Matter. He said, Uchiha Qiye, the great elder of the Uchiha family, do you know who you were talking to? Chapter 357 Danzo suppresses Uchiha Qiye and gets slapped in the face. Chapter 357 Danzo suppresses Uchiha Qiye and gets slapped in the face. Immediately afterwards, the 5 Jonins who had been traveling with Danzo also walked in, all looking bad. But I thought that although this place is in the Konoha village, it is in the Uchiha family after all, so everyone did not dare to attack. So Danzo said, Uchiha Qiye, this afternoon is the pointing ceremony for the entire Konoha village Jonin apprentices, and you are also invited to attend, so you should remember to go. 35. Uchiha Qiye nodded. He understood what Danzo meant. In fact, every Jonin with high morals and virtuousness would send his apprentice to compete with other Jonin's apprentices, and the winner would naturally give his master a face. And Uchiha Qiye doesn't have any apprentices, but Nagato and Konan around him have been together for a long time, so he asked, our Uchiha family doesn't have any apprentices, it seems unnecessary for me to go to your meeting. Danzo sneered and said, you have to go, or you don't have to go, just call any junior you like. Uchiha Qiye has not been ordered like this for a long time, what is it, you have to go if you don't go, is this giving orders? Although the Uchiha family is indeed an important member of Konoha, no matter everything is negotiated, everyone is willing to give Hokage face, a retired Anbu minister Danzo, how dare you have such a big face? This can't be done. As the elder of the Uchiha family, Uchiha Qiye must serve the face of the Uchiha family. Now the unpleasant conversation between the two of them has been heard by the Uchiha family members outside, so everyone pricked up their ears. Advertisement: if anyone in the Uchiha family dares to run wild, no matter who it is, it cannot be allowed. But this Danzo is actually rushing to pretend to force him, so Uchiha Qiye is not welcome. After all, Konoha village's pretending point is the least harvested. This question has been asked to this point, and everyone smelled a dangerous atmosphere, as if the two were about to fight together. Qian Zhao's. If he wants to get a big one, it's not impossible. After all, who would think too much pretending? He also wants to learn the magic shadow clone technique right away. So Uchiha Qiye stood up and said, since Danzo has said this for his sake, then our Uchiha family must face it. The chakra in Danzo's body quickly flowed, and he was about to do something, but after thinking about it, this is the place of the Uchiha family. Of course, it is not convenient for him, a retired minister Anbu, to take the initiative to launch an attack here, at least to ask for instructions. Hokage. Danzo dared to openly say that the Uchiha family has no successor. This is to slap Uchiha Qiye in the face. Since he lives in Konoha village, he is naturally unwilling to act in his own house. So Uchiha Kai's face became serious, still sitting on the chair, looking at the 5 Jonins brought by Danzo and said, what if I just don't go? So Danzo suddenly stopped the flow of chakra, but said with a livid face, if you don't go, then I will go to Hokage to explain. There is no successor in the Cosmic Wave family, no junior can challenge, presumably no one will. It's a joke, that's all. Chapter 358 Conservatives and Radicals of the Uchiha Family. Chapter 358 Conservatives and Radicals of the Uchiha Family. Just this afternoon, we will send a junior to guide you Konoha's junior. Danzo could see it, and sure enough, Uchiha Qiye had a bad intention and called Konoha as you. As the chief elder of the Uchiha family, he didn't take himself as Konoha at all. Sure enough, the hearts of my race are different, Danzo sneered and said, you have to point as Konoha, right? Then in the arena, our Konoha will not hold back your Uchiha family. After finishing speaking, Danzo bowed his hands and didn't want to stop for a moment. Farewell. Danzo walked out with 5 Konoha Jonin, leaving behind Uchiha Qiye and his clan. Everyone felt the smell of gunpowder. So, the people of the Uchiha family gathered one after another and came to Uchiha Kai's bedroom to discuss this matter together. One of the people with some prestige in the Cosmic Wave family said, Elder, this time Danzo is coming over aggressively. I'm afraid Konoha is going to attack us. In fact, Uchiha Qiye has always been at ease in Konoha, BECJ, where he feels comfortable, and has already regarded Konoha as his home. Who knows that a wild dog Danzo with a bad face pops out halfway, which makes him very accurate. Only lousy pretends to be forceful. Where can an old dog like Danzo pretend to be forceful? Advertisement. So Uchiha Qiye said to everyone, I had no intention of fighting against Konoha. This Danzo has already become so arrogant, we can't do it if we don't cure him. Our goal is only one Danzo. I hope he can know how to respect us, not the whole Konoha. 99. The people who can gather in the Cosmic Wave Kai's room are actually all human beings. How can they be stupid? Uchiha Qiye said this. In fact, it has a lot of drawbacks because Danzo does not only represent himself, he is deeply rooted and powerful, and if you want to move him, it is equivalent to moving the foundation of the entire Konoha. So to be the enemy of Danzo is to be against the entire Konoha. The difference is really not big for the enemy. So Uchiha Qiye glanced at everyone, knowing the doubts in their eyes, and he continued, if Konoha is extremely partial to Danzo and is unreasonable, then as the chief elder of the Uchiha family, I would rather be the enemy of the entire Konoha. I won't suffer from such a loss. Such a lofty ambition, coupled with domineering words, shocked every member of the Uchiha family at once. because the elders of the Cosmic Wave family have always been completely obedient to Konoha, and they can't raise the slightest rebellious mentality. And Uchiha Qiye is not at all angry. If he is embarrassed, he would rather subvert the entire Konoha. It seems that the elder of the Uchiha family is not a person to be provoked. So one of the elders of the Uchiha family said, there are many experts in Konoha, and there are countless Jonin, and there are some secret weapons. If we go to war with Konoha, I am afraid it will not be an easy task. 99. Such old antiques naturally think of the overall situation first, rather than personal honor and disgrace, so the style is very conservative. The younger generation of the Uchiha family will not think so much, or they have already thought about it after seeing too much Konoha's use and suppression of the Uchiha family. So a girl who was no more than 15 years old popped out, looking valiant, although her words were immature. Chapter 359 Never Reconcile, the sword points to Konoha. Chapter 359 Never Reconcile, the sword points to Konoha. But it is neither humble nor arrogant, and there is some arrogance that Uchiha Qiye likes to intervene. She said, regardless of his Konoha's strength, our Cosmic Wave family won't suffer from this kind of anger. Danzo is fine if he knows his appearance. If he doesn't know his appearance, then our Uchiha family would rather turn him upside down. 9. This sentence directly shocked the old man. Fortunately, there are no outsiders here. If there is, then this is a blatant rebellion. So the old man gave her a surprised look. Don't talk nonsense. Uchiha Qiye was very interested in this little girl, so he asked, who are your parents? How long have you been in the Uchiha family? Do you have the strength of genin? The girl turned her head and glanced at Uchiha Qiye. Although she knew that this man was the elder of the Uchiha family, she was not afraid at all, at most respected. So the little girl said, my name is Uchiha Rana, I grew up without a parent and was murdered by Embu of Konoha, and I hate Konoha. Uchiha Qiye, as the chief elder of the Uchiha family, has naturally heard of this story, because Konoha Embu thought that Uchiha Rana's parents threatened Konoha's rule, so he was directly assassinated. Correct Konoha, but this matter is already an open secret. Uchiha Rana is their posthumous son, 15 years have passed, and this girl has grown up. Uchiha Rana said, more than Genin's level? I don't think Jonin is necessarily my opponent. Advertisement. Does a 15-year-old girl have such a high level of strength? Uchiha Qiye doesn't know if she is bragging, but she loves it and thinks that her temperament and personality are very suitable for him. So Uchiha Qiye said, very good, there will be a Konoha apprentice confrontation game this afternoon. Would you like to go with me as my apprentice? If they are respectful, then I will treat each other with courtesy, but today you have also seen Danzo's arrogant style. I have the responsibility to let them monitor the power of the Uchiha family. 35. For flowers. They expressed support for Uchiha Kai's leadership. But those members of the same age as Uchiha Qiye were rejoicing, because they always had a feeling that when Konoha needed them, they went out to work hard, and they were worthless when they died. As soon as these words came out, the conservatives within the Uchiha family felt a sense of shock and worry, because the Uchiha family has been affiliated and loyal to Konoha for 100 years, and this young Uchiha family Kai's new elder is so daring. Uchiha Qiye admired this girl very much, so he said to the whole clan, I, Uchiha Qiye, are by no means a weak and incompetent elder. Since Danzo has come to bully us for this sake, I must not sit idly by. 9. Hearing that she had such an opportunity, Uchiha Liangna's eyes widened with excitement. She nodded like a rattle, and kept saying, I do, I want them to see that the Uchiha family can't be bullied casually. But once they were no longer needed, the senior officials of Konoha looked at them with cold eyes one by one, preventing them from being like thieves, which made the young members of the Uchiha family unable to swallow long ago. People from two factions entered a swarm of scrambled Middle-earth. Chapter 360 Uchiha Liangna inherits the mantle sooner or later. Chapter 360 Uchiha Liangna inherits the mantle sooner or later. But Uchiha Qiye had already made up his mind. He said, okay, don't fight anymore. I will also act according to the opportunity. If they are not excessive, we can show our strength. If we step on my bottom line, I will definitely let them know how good they are. After the Cosmic Wave Qiye made the decision, he waved his hand and let all these people go to 887. Only Uchiha Liangna was left. This is a well-behaved and lovely girl, with a hint of heroism hidden between her eyebrows. Her face is fair, and her figure is graceful, showing a mature demeanor at just 15 years old. Uchiha Qiye said, you follow me to the temple. Of course, Uchiha Liangna knows what the temple means. It is the place that the Uchiha family has always wanted to enter. There is the secret of the blood wheel eye that the Uchiha family is most proud of, and it can be taught by the elders, so many people have never entered. Only those who are favored by the elders may be eligible to enter. Uchiha Rana understood at once, her eyes widened, and she said happily, okay. Nagato and Konan naturally became the gatekeepers of Uchiha Qiye, because every time they entered the palace of the Uchiha family, someone needed to guard them, and no one else could enter or leave casually. Entering the palace of the Uchiha family, the statues of the elders of the past generations and the techniques they were good at were carved on it. Of course, Qiye, the Cosmic Wave, had seen all of them, and felt that the entire Uchiha family had a glorious brilliance. But this family is full of demonic nature. Only by killing their loved ones can they improve their pupil skills. This feeling makes their whole family have a love that lives towards death, which is desperate and strange. Advertisement perhaps, this is the fate of the Uchiha family. Entering the hall, Uchiha Rana opened a pair of big eyes, looking full of curiosity and eager yearning for power. Uchiha Qiye sat on the main hall and said to Uchiha Liangna, you said that you have initially acquired the ability of Jonin, are you serious? Of course Uchiha Qiye knows Ashima, He is Jonin from Konoha village, and he is very powerful. Could it be that Uchiha Rana, who is nearly 15 years old, is a talented girl? So he also became curious and said to her, okay, then you and I have a try. And many of the Uchiha family don't open their eyes even at the age of 20, which is a world of difference. Uchiha Rana rushed over directly, and the first shot was a killing move. So Uchiha Qiye said in surprise, it's not bad, attack it, 99. Saying that, Uchiha Qiye got up and tried his hand with Uchiha Liangna, use all your skills to fight against me, don't be afraid. Uchiha Liangna saw that Uchiha Qiye mentioned serious matters, and immediately became serious and said to him, I think yes, I mistakenly regarded Ashima as an opponent during a mission, and ended up fighting him, a tie. This time, I was immediately shocked to the cosmic wave Qiye. Although he has the eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye, it was obtained by the use of 2.9 force points and chance, and this Uchiha Liangna was only 15 years old and actually obtained the Mangekyo blood, round eyes. Uchiha Liangna knew that the Great Elder was going to try her, so she immediately opened her own blood wheel eye, Mangekyo blood wheel eye, open, 99. Chapter 361 The Uchiha Family Saber named Meteor Chapter 361 The Uchiha Family Saber named Meteor. The shuriken in her hand slashed towards Uchiha Qiye relentlessly as if she was unpredictable under her dancing. The flowing posture and solid exercises made people look dazzling. Uchiha Liangna's Mangekyo blood wheel eyes stared at Uchiha Qiye to the death. No small movement could escape her eyes, and Uchiha Qiye was trying his best to fight against her. Seeing the 14 strokes of the move, the two were inseparable, and suddenly Uchiha Liangna rose up into the air, fire style, fire art. Fire jutsu actually belongs to a level ninjutsu. According to the level, almost only Jonin can use this ability, but it is used by a little guy who is nearly 15 years old. The fire technique sprayed directly like a fire dragon, and attacked Uchiha Qiye violently. Uchiha Qiye formed a seal in seconds and directly attacked each other with water style. With a bang, the two forces collided and disappeared completely. But at this moment, Uchiha Qiye felt a chill, and a sharp dagger was stabbing him in the back. Uchiha Liangna sneered and said, Elder, are you letting me? Cosmic Wave Qiye turned his head and glanced at her, his face filled with a warm smile. Yes, yes, I already admire you for such responsiveness. After speaking, Uchiha Qiye disappeared in place and turned into a wooden stake. It turned out that it was just a wood-style clone, and the real Uchiha Qiye walked out slowly in the hall, applauding Uchiha Liangna. Advertisement. Of course, Uchiha Liangna didn't expect that it was just a clone. She didn't even think that Uchiha Qiye had seen through her every move. In this comparison of pupil strength, of course, Uchiha Qiye was superior. Liangna said, wow, you are really amazing, Great Elder, 35. Uchiha Qiye said, I have understood your skill and reaction speed. You can indeed fight against ordinary Jonin. I still have something to reward you. You are basically guaranteed. As the Great Elder, Uchiha Qiye naturally has the supreme power in the Uchiha clan. He made a seal with his hands directly and helped Liangna lift the prohibition of blood wheel eyes in the oldest way. Because if it can't be upgraded to eternal Mangekyo, the eyes will be damaged every time they are used, and they will naturally become blind. Although Liangna has no chance so far, but at least she is no longer afraid that she will be damaged if she uses it too much. In addition, Uchiha Qiye also gave her a sword, which was given to warriors by the Uchiha family, named Meteor. 887 This sword is full of legendary significance. It is said that in the ancient ninja world, the Uchiha family saw through the sky, and the meteors that fell from the sky fell into the sword. There are meteors passing by, giving a very legendary visual experience. And it is said that this meteor will communicate with the master's mind, which will not only greatly increase the power of the spell, but also protect the master at critical moments. A meteor swept across the blade, which made Uchiha Rana very happy. She looked at such a beautiful and extremely used weapon, and her heart was full of love, but she was too embarrassed to ask for it. Chapter 362 Undercurrent is turbulent. The calculation of Konoha High. Chapter 362 Undercurrent is turbulent. The calculation of Konoha High. Uchiha Qiye said, take this sword and carry the mission of the Uchiha family. If I am not here in the future, you can convey my meaning with the help of Nagato and Konan. Uchiha Rana immediately understood, this is the first elder who is training the successor, this is a very serious moment. So the little girl changed her hippie smile, took the sword very solemnly, and said with a serious face, I will definitely show my strength in the competition. Uchiha Qiye likes this little girl very much and thinks that the child can be taught. He looked up at the sky outside, the time was approaching the afternoon. This game will be held in the Konoha village gym, although it has been to learn from each other over the years, but this time is probably different. At this time, in the Hokage office in Konoha village, Naruto was sitting by the side, watching the two former heavyweights chatting about something. Ever since Danzo came into this room, his face has never looked better. Danzo with a livid face is reporting the recent changes in the Uchiha family, as well as Uchiha Kai's arrogant style. The predecessor Hokage is Yuan Fei. This old man has always been scheming, and has been advocating for the embankment of the Uchiha family. Yuan Fei frowned, smoking a cigarette pouch in his mouth, and a plume of smoke was constantly rising. Yuan Fei, who had joined the Konoha council leader, was seriously thinking about Danzo's words. Advertisement. Danzo is the minister of the previous Anbu in Konoha, and he has also joined the council, and the existence of the Konoha council has the same rights as Hokage, so their words are also very important. As soon as he said this, Hokage was standing in line, and he didn't think the Uchiha family would really become a threat. Danzo recalls the bloody coup that Konoha and the Uchiha family staged to this day with lingering fears. Danzo nodded and said, "Yes, the Uchiha family used to be relatively honest, and their elders looked very respectful when they saw us, but after Uchiha Qiye became the elder, these people started to move. Naruto has just been in the job at Hokage, so his attitude has always been that of an onlooker. Because Yuan Fei is afraid of the ability of the Bloodwheel Eye in the Uchiha family, he is wandering between using and guarding, because he knows that the Bloodwheel Eye is the eye that can only be possessed by the founder of the ninja world, Otsutsuki Kagaya. The blood sacrifice boundary is not an ordinary family, it can be called an ancient noble." Yuan Fei said, "The Uchiha family has indeed been a little secretive in Konoha recently, especially after the emergence of a super-strength elder like the Cosmic Wave Kie. His style has gradually become arrogant." Danzo snorted coldly and said, "You are still too young to know how cruel and bloody the Uchiha family was in the Battle of the Ancients. If their power is not restricted and controlled, it may bring the subversion of the regime to Konoha, so Yuan Fei has a very contradictory attitude towards the Uchiha family." Naruto glanced at the place where the Uchiha family was from the window, and then thought about the usual Uchiha Kie. He said, "I don't think Uchiha Kie, Qian Zhao, has the idea of subverting Konoha, he just has a unique style. Just walking alone." Chapter 363 Danzo and Yuan Fei monopolize the entire Konoha. Chapter 363 Danzo and Yuan Fei monopolize the entire Konoha. In the huge office, Naruto, as the current Hokage, seems to have the least qualifications, and he has no qualifications to intervene at all. Danzo and Yuan Fei are the protagonists here. Even if Yuan Fei resigned and joined the parliament, he still has the authority of one word. In the game, kill his majesty. This is exactly what Danzo means, so after a few people made up their minds, they began to wait for the upcoming competition. In fact, it has always been a way to communicate and learn skills with each other, and there is no gunpowder smell at all, but since Uchiha Qiye, such people jumping out of 887 will naturally have an abnormal smell of political movement gunpowder. After the meeting was over, Yuan Fei left Naruto behind. The noon sun shone through the window, giving him a different kind of warm feeling. Yuan Fei asked Naruto to make him a pot of tea, and there was a fragrance in the tea. This kind of feeling makes people lazy, but in fact, there is a hidden edge. Yuan Fei took a sip of the Longjing tea brewed by Naruto. After a touch of bitterness, there was a refreshing fragrance. This fragrance made Yuan Fei very satisfied. Yuan Fei glanced at Naruto and said, "You have been making Hokage for a long time. What are your thoughts and experiences?" Naruto scratched his head. Although he has experienced several battles in the ninja world and has reached the top level in ninjutsu techniques, his mind is still a little immature. Naruto said, "In terms of experience, it is a bit difficult to manage such a big country. I think I may be more suitable to be a Jonin, born to fight. This is probably my experience." Yuan Fei sighed, but what Naruto said to him could be considered the truth. Naruto, who was still a little immature, was probably speaking in this way. So Yuan Fei said, "You can't do this. You are the ninja of Konoha village. You are a decision maker, and it is no longer a simple matter of BECJ, just like the Cosmic Wave family today. Example, you should learn from Danzo.35. When Naruto heard this, he still felt a little uncomfortable, because as far as his personal opinion was concerned, he was a person who yearned for sunshine and was full of vigor. Some people behind the scenes. But since Yuan Fei was actually praising Danzo, Naruto felt very uncomfortable. He thought hard about Danzo's advantages, probably because he was rigorous and meticulous. Yuan Fei continued, "Even if Danzo resigns, he never stops monitoring the entire village. He has done outstanding work for the invasion of foreign enemies and the monitoring of other villages, so you should respect him. All decisions made are for our Konoha's sake, so don't stand on Uchiha's side in your activities this afternoon." Naruto thought for a while. He actually had a good impression of Uchiha Qiye, but the village has always felt isolated from the Uchiha family, and Naruto also felt a little disliked, so Naruto sighed and said, "I'll act accordingly when the time comes." Chapter 364 Puppets are not worthy of being Hokage. Ashima supports. Chapter 364 Puppets are not worthy of being Hokage. Ashima supports. After he finished speaking, he opened the door and walked out. This move made Yuan Fei even more dissatisfied. As Hokage, he didn't have the will to fire. How could he just leave? He didn't know how to respect him as an old man. Forbearance. At this time, Yuan Fei had already started to ponder that someone should replace Naruto's position, but after thinking about it, it seemed that there was no other candidate, so I could only put it on hold for the time being. Naruto returned to his Hokage office dejectedly. Ashima walked in at this time and glanced at Naruto and asked, "Naruto, why do you look unhappy? Can you tell me?" Naruto really felt very unhappy, because he felt that his Hokage was very boring, and he could not fully implement any of his own will, and even those people in the council interfered, then his Hokage is not a puppet. Naruto still trusts Ashima very much, and feels that Ashima is his right-hand man and his confidant, so Naruto told Ashima what happened in the parliament. Ashima thinks these are the upper-class things. If he got involved, might not be right. But there are no outsiders here, and Ashima also said something. He said, "Naruto, I can understand your pain. They may have reasoned about this matter, but it is unreasonable to accuse you. Yes, I want you to have an iron fist." Naruto also has some of this tendency. He feels that the existence of the parliament is not really necessary. It was originally a matter for everyone to discuss and do things together. Naruto has no decision-making power at all, and is completely represented by the parliament. This makes any Hokage feel very uncomfortable, difficult to accept. Naruto felt that what Ashima said was reasonable, so he made up his mind secretly. He said, "You are right, obviously because of my laziness, the council does not trust me very much, and then I will arrange the responsibility of my own Hokage." Point 35. Ashima had already walked to the front of the stage at this time, and looking at the crowd of people below, it seemed that many people had already come here, thinking in her heart, this game must be different now. For flowers the Uchiha family here, and next to Uchiha are Nagato and Konan. Although these two people do not belong to the blood of the Uchiha family, they are recognized as the three people with the best relationship. But this time it was different. Cosmic Wave Qiye brought another girl at the same time. This girl has never been known before, but Chi Yu is very high, giving people a very unusual feeling. At the same time, there are various apprentices of well-known Jonin participating in the competition, just to test the future of Konoha taught by Jonin. Although this kind of competition is not well-known, it can still be entertained in the same village. But suddenly people in Konoha village felt a strange feeling, because not only Hokage Naruto was there, but Danzo and the previous Hokage Yuan Fei were also here, which made people feel a little unusual. The representative of the Uchiha family is naturally Uchiha Qiye. When he brought three people here, he felt an unusual feeling. This is a sports field with an area of about 1,000 square meters. Chapter 365 Fierce Battle. The Way to Kill a Genius Girl. Chapter 365 Fierce Battle. The Way to Kill a Genius Girl. Surrounded by high-level figures, they simultaneously cast unusual glances at Uchiha Qiye. It seems that this competition is definitely not a simple matter. Cosmic Wave led the three people to sit in the home court of the Uchiha family. And the people in the village came wave after wave, and the seats were almost full. Naruto, as the host of 887, said, "This time, it's just a simple contest between the apprentices from Professor Jonin, and neither side can hit the killer until the point is reached." After finishing speaking, a few apprentices from Professor Jonin came up, adding up to no more than 5 people, apprentices of taijutsu and various ninjutsu masters. The first person to come up was the disciple of Konoha village's most grand master, Yiziwu Jonin. The impeller was a young male who looked arrogant and domineering, and jumped up at once. And Uchiha Kai's apprentice is naturally Uchiha Liangna. She glanced at the Universe Wave Qiye said, "Elder, I want to fight him." Cosmic Wave Qiye nodded and saw Uchiha Liangna walking straight into the arena. This is a beautiful girl, but there is a heroic spirit between her eyebrows, and she looks like a hero in a female middle school. Advertisement of course, the movement here attracted the attention of Yuan Fei and Danzo. They had never seen this girl before. They only thought that there was no good person in the Cosmic Wave family to replace them. Why did they send a girl out like this? The impeller was really mad at 2.9, so he yelled, "You really need to clean up the residue of the Uchiha family." It's not just them, even the audience was a little surprised. Is it a sign of the decline of the clan that only one girl was dispatched from the Cosmic Wave family? This fight. Impeller glanced at Uchiha Ryona, who was wearing a red and white pair. After looking at it from head to toe, she thought it was too much of a joke. How could such a thin woman become his opponent? Uchiha Liangna doesn't care so much. Although she is young, she is still a girl, but she is never shy. She is a radical in the Cosmic Wave family. I bought some empty things, and I used to be a blessing on weekdays, and Konoha didn't know how to take care of you, so I will teach you a lesson in their place. And the words are still humiliating Konoha, it really can be executed to the point of death. So he said, "You are sent from the Cosmic Wave family? It seems that you are really arrogant, but such a girl dares to come up against us. I really don't know how high the sky is." Impeller, who has always been hot-tempered, couldn't control it at all. Since he was so old, someone dared to say that what he studied was empty. This not only scolded him, but also scolded his master. Impeller is usually arrogant and domineering, thinking that she is the strongest ninja in the new generation, and seeing a girl like Uchiha Rana naturally becomes even more arrogant. From the very beginning, the scolding between the two apprentices had a strong political meaning. It was simply a confrontation between the Uchiha family and Konoha. For a while, the crowd just exchanged glances, and they didn't dare to discuss loudly. Chapter 366 Lightning Style Chidori slaps the whole Konoha in the face. Chapter 366 Lightning Style Chidori slaps the whole Konoha in the face. Even so, the Cosmic Wave family just sat quietly on the side. Uchiha Qiye moved his eyes to Danzo, and Danzo, who had always been gloomy, had been staring at Cosmic Wave Qiye for a long time, and the hostility between each other was very thick. A battle is inevitable. Impeller was the first to attack. The Grandmaster in his hand was a child of an aristocratic weapon family, and he had slashed 14 times with a large knife in his hand. On the other hand, Uchiha Liangna showed a meteor sword in her hand. This is something that those in Uchiha's family who will inherit the mantle sooner or later will have it. Those with discerning eyes can see it all at once. Uchiha Qiye has some deep trust in Uchiha Liangna. Of course, Impeller couldn't understand what the doorway was, but he slammed into it and slashed the huge machete directly at Uchiha Liangna. This was a very real murderous aura. Cosmic Polana didn't give in too much, and swung it directly at the machete with the meteor sword. The moment when the two weapons intertwined, an extremely strong beating sound came out, bang. Immediately afterwards, Impeller watched helplessly as the weapon in his hand was directly slashed by Pop, and it suddenly became two pieces. Lightning style, Chidori. The lightning style in Cosmic Polana's hands burst out with the sound of 1,000 birds chirping, and immediately hit the Impeller. Although the mass and density are much smaller than Uchiha Kai's Chidori, and the power is also very weak, it belongs to A-level ninjutsu after all, and it was actually used by an unknown person, which shocked everyone present. Advertisement. All of a sudden, it hit the belly of the impeller firmly, and the latter rushed over and flew a few hundred meters before landing. Blood was spitting out of the impeller's mouth, and his eyes were filled with shock as he looked at this woman he had never seen before with unbelievable eyes. Yes, since even Meteor has an 887, of course it has a promising future. Yi Qinwu immediately jumped into the arena and took his apprentice away. This was not taught by Uchiha Qiye, but was realized by the young Uchiha Liangna herself. With the impeller falling to the ground, even the impeller watching from the side was surprised for a while. She never imagined that the advanced technique of lightning style could be used by someone in a casually demonstrated arena. This girl must have a bright future. Yuan Fei frowned while smoking a cigarette while watching this competition. Not only him, but even some Konoha's high-level faces showed shocking emotions. No one could imagine that a girl who was only 15 years old had such a powerful explosive power in her body. Moreover, this Uchiha Liangna is also the future heir of the Cosmic Wave family. Destroying her can completely anger the Uchiha family and make them rioters, and then the entire Uchiha family can be eradicated by means of repression. Danzo and Yuan Fei have been working together for many years. So he gestured to Danzo with his eyes, and let the Konoha shinobi behind him become stronger one by one, and he must defeat this cosmic Piranha. In fact, this is also the technique of the great masters of the Cosmic Wave family. They are not only born with the physique to open the eyes of the blood wheel, but also have some unparalleled ability to comprehend lightning style. Advertisement. Chapter 367. Sorry, you are too slow. Chapter 367. Sorry, you are too slow. A tone, a look can understand the meaning of each other. Danzo nodded slightly, and immediately Shadow Clone went to the other Jonin's side, asking them to send out the strongest disciples and use the most ruthless tricks to kill Cosmic Piranha in a solid way. The Cosmic Wave Qiye, who had already opened the eyes of eternity, of course saw their small movements clearly, but he believed that Uchiha Liangna must be more than enough to deal with these juniors. There are now 4 Konoha shinobi left, and the next to appear is Asime Yamato, a ninja who specializes in Earth style, and whose teacher is also an excellent Earth style Jonin. After Yamato came on the field, the impression he gave people was like a hill. He looked extremely strong, and he was a little over 1.9 meters tall. When he stepped inside, he gave people a very stable pressure. Yamato glanced at Uchiha Rana and said, I hope we all don't use weapons. Naturally, Uchiha Liangna pays attention to martial arts. Knowing that this person uses ninjutsu completely and uses shuriken at most, Cosmic Piranha directly put away the meteor sword and said, of course you can. 99. Earth style, earth flow. A powerful force spread on the surface, the sound of rumbling was deafening, the surface was overturned by the mound, and it rushed directly towards the universe Piranha. But Uchiha Rana was no longer in the original position, but a dark shadow flashed past, directly touching Yamato's neck with the shuriken in his sleeve. Sorry, your speed is too slow. Advertisement. Uchiha Rana's eyes were cold, even in the bright sun now, it gave people a cold feeling. With this unparalleled speed and superb reflexes, only a few Jonin could see her pace clearly. Yamato was extremely surprised, he didn't even see when Uchiha Rana came to him. Sweaty Yamato said, I give in, but I wonder, why are you so quick? Yamato is a prudent person after all, since he has already conceded defeat, Uchiha Rana's shuriken will naturally be withdrawn, and he just said coldly, it's not that I'm fast, it's just that you are slow. Danzo and Yuan Fei looked like they had eaten shit. The excellent ninjas they cultivated from Konoha didn't have the abilities of Chunin, but were they so vulnerable? Yamato sighed and retreated with great regret, convinced that he lost. Of course, there are many talents in it. The biggest highlight of this competition is naturally Hyuga Neji from the White Eyes clan. It's just that the 15-year-old Uchiha Liangna sent by Uchiha Qiye is more powerful, almost having the speed of Jonin. In the end, there is only the Hyuga family of the White-Eyed family. The people of the Hyuga family are born with white-eyed, which is the bloodline left by the god tier Otsutsuki Kagaya who created the ninja world. The next player to play was Grandmaster Woodstyle, but he was knocked to the ground by Uchiha Liangna in a few rounds, and the next one was still in the end, Qian Zhao. After the shock in my heart, I calmed down and thought about it. It seems that it is not difficult to understand. After showing their abilities, these offspring have already come out of their peers. The White-Eyed clan has made a huge contribution to the entire Konoha, and it can be said that it is the most loyal family in the Konoha village and has established too many meritorious deeds. Chapter 368. Login for the first time. 8 trigrams of white eyes 60 palms. Chapter 368. Login for the first time. 8 trigrams of white eyes 60 palms. Hyuga Neji is an 18-year-old young man who has always been a very arrogant man. He has always been disdainful of other young people who are not as strong as him, but his strength is too strong, and others dare not provoke him at all. Even the future heir of the Hyuga family, everyone is optimistic about Hyuga Neji. The so-called white-eyed ability is to be able to see through the flow of the opponent's chakra, get rid of all falsehoods, and have some extremely strong immunity to illusions. As soon as Hyuga Neji appeared, he said to Cosmic Piranha, stop your arrogance, Uchiha's 887 clan's bloodwheel eyes are no match for Bai Yan, we can easily decipher your moves, and surrender directly can save you from death. Cosmic Wave Qiye thought to himself, the new generation of offspring are really stronger than each other in terms of their ability to pretend. Cosmic Piranha doesn't care about this. She has always known Hyuga Neji's name, and she has long thought of being able to compete with him. So he said, finally waited for this opportunity, let us fight, no matter life or death. The meteor sword was pulled out again. Uchiha Qiye could understand, This little girl was about to get serious, and the aura on her body, BECJ, became very different. Yuan Fei, who was sitting on the high platform, was also watching the changes in the situation earnestly and nervously. Of course, he hoped that Hyuga Neji would win, because none of these juniors were the opponents of the juniors of the Uchiha family, and they did not go out for 5 rounds. Just so embarrassing. Hyuga Neji immediately opened his eyes, and a picture of 8 trigrams was generated. This is Hyuga Neji's famous stunt, 8 trigrams 60 palms. The whole person rushed over like a ghostly phantom, and Uchiha Liangna didn't hold back at all, blood eyes, open. Advertisement. It's just that Cosmic Polana's blood wheel eye is Mangekyo blood wheel eye, not an ordinary blood wheel eye at all. When people see it clearly, they take a deep breath. When he was nearly 15 years old, he opened Mangekyo blood wheel eye, which has completely crushed ordinary white eyes. 8 trigrams 64 palms is extremely fast, and its movements are smooth, but under the eyes of the powerful Mangekyo blood wheel, all these attacks were resolved one by one. And quickly saw the move and dismantled the move, and finally opened the center of the 8 trigrams with a sword. The center is the eye of the formation, which directly broke the formation of Hyuga Neji. Hyuga Neji looked at Uchiha Liangna in astonishment. How could this be possible? She was only 15 years old, and she actually possessed Mangekyo blood wheel eyes, just one step away from the supreme eternal Mangekyo. And he actually still stays in the primary eye. This is simply being hid by others' dimensionality reduction. But Hyuga Neji is still 3 years older than Cosmic Polana, and a sense of shame arises spontaneously. During this brief hesitation, Uchiha Liangna rushed over again, and the speed of the seal in her hand was extremely fast, which was dazzling. Even Jonin couldn't match the speed of Uchiha Liangna's seal. Immediately shocked everyone present. Amaterasu. Amaterasu, a stunt like this, was actually used in the mouth of a 15-year-old girl from Cosmic Polana. All Konoha executives were extremely shocked. The sky was dark and black flames swept across Hyuga Neji. As long as it was hit, what would happen to Hyuga Neji? Chapter 369 Defeat Neji. The Uchiha family is proud. Chapter 369 Defeat Neji. The Uchiha family is proud. It will be burned forever, and there will be no possibility of survival. What Hyuga Neji is most proud of is his white eyes, because white eyes have strong immunity to illusions. But under the strong deterrence of Mangekyo's blood wheel eyes, Hyuga Neji could not avoid it, and watched the black flames directly swept over his body. At this moment, the patriarch of the Hyuga family couldn't stand it any longer. 8 trigrams are righteous. An innate energy, divided into 2 escapes, yin and yang, directly wrapped around Hyuga Neji's body, and 8 trigrams directly bounced off the black Amaterasu, protecting Hyuga Neji. But according to the rules, if someone else helps the game, it will automatically abstain, and Hyuga Neji is convinced that he loses. This game is undoubtedly a huge victory for the Cosmic Wave family. With Uchiha Liangna's own power, he directly killed all the descendants of Konoha village. The host felt a sense of political conflict, and when congratulating Uchiha Liangna, the words were not salty or bland. Universe Polana wins, it's just a discussion. I hope everyone is not arrogant or impetuous. This means that it's no big deal if Uchiha Rana wins. Don't be arrogant. Those who lose don't need to be too serious, because it's just for learning. It is conceivable that the host team is already obvious, and everyone can see Konoha's hostility towards the Uchiha family. Advertisement. Uchiha Rana said in the center of the arena, Konoha's descendants are nothing but this. I hope that everyone who encounters our Uchiha family in the future will be more respectful. After speaking, he glanced at Danzo with his icy eyes, which was a blatant hostility. Uchiha Qiye admires Liang Na's style very much. He likes this style of you respect me 1 foot, I respect you 10 feet, you bully me 3 points, and I give you back 1 inch. After finishing speaking, Uchiha Liangna returned to the Cosmic Wave Kai's camp. This battle made everyone understand the split between the Cosmic Wave family and the high-level Konoha. I am afraid, a battle is inevitable. After returning, Uchiha Qiye sat on the faucet chair in his family and praised Uchiha Liangna. Very good, you really lived up to my hope. Conan took it to his family's secret room and gave her honey water. 5. Asterisk asterisk katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot. In fact, this kind of honey water has always been something that the Uchiha family wanted very much. Not only can it supplement chakra, but it can also greatly improve one's ability. Although it is not as good as the snow lotus in the land of water, its effects have many similarities. Uchiha Rana was very happy, thanked Uchiha Qiye and went out with Conan. This time, the members of the Uchiha family saw it all in their eyes, and they were all convinced, because the 15-year-old Uchiha Liangna could already use Amaterasu. This is definitely not an ordinary talent, capable of such a thing. It can be said that he is talented and stronger than Minato, who has always been dissatisfied. Minato has always been a figure who can compete for the elders of the Uchiha family, but seeing how powerful Uchiha Qiye is, and seeing a genius like Cosmic Polana character, he already knew how much he weighed, and he no longer felt dissatisfied. Outside the window, Gigi screamed dryly, and a group of high-rise trees outside the window grimaced. Chapter 370 The swaggering Uchiha Qiye is extremely arrogant. Chapter 370 The swaggering Uchiha Qiye is extremely arrogant. This time, the Uchiha family competed for enough face, which surprised all the senior officials of Konoha. It turned out that the descendants of the Uchiha family were already so powerful. Yuan Fei said, how can there be such a big difference between the apprentices taught by Jonin and those taught by Universe Wave? One of Jonin's face became a little sullen, and they, 8087, could not have imagined that such a young descendant would pop out of the Uchiha family, and it was only 15 years old to open the Mangekyo blood wheel eye. It was like a fantasy. Danzo said, "We've been a little lax over the years in monitoring the Uchiha family, and I don't know what the hell they're doing behind their backs, and I think it's necessary to clear them up." Naruto frowned, although everyone here was advocating the extermination of the Uchiha family, but Naruto once again gave a different opinion. "I don't think I can be so arbitrary." When Naruto said this, they all looked at him because this Hokage was always speaking for the Uchiha family. Danzo glanced at Naruto, and there was a strong dissatisfaction in his eyes. The tradition of solidarity among Konoha, how did it become like this when he came to Naruto? Naruto said, "Up until now, the Uchiha family has not done anything unusual, and if anything was done to them, it would have chilled many people's hearts. 35. Humph. Advertisement. Danzo slammed the table with a bang. The heavy sound almost cracked the table, and seemed to be releasing the anger that he had accumulated for so long. Danzo said, "Enough. Since Uchiha Qiye became the elder of the Uchiha family, he has not paid tribute to Konoha at all. Don't you think this is outrageous enough?" With a bang, the door was pushed open directly from the outside. Everyone was looking in the direction of the door with surprised eyes. Because the meeting was held in top secret, no outsiders could come in at all, and it was impossible for anyone who was not on the high-level list to break in, and now that the meeting had started, the gatekeeper would also reject all personnel. The door was violently pushed open outside, which surprised everyone. But when they saw the person who came, everyone was shocked again, because the person who came was the elder of the Uchiha family, Uchiha Qiye, who they were focusing on discussing. Uchiha Qiye was wearing a red and white robe at this time, which was the unique clothing of the Uchiha family. Only when he looked at Naruto, his eyes flashed a hint of tenderness, because he had already listened to all the conversations of these people. Only Naruto's spirit was impartial, and he did not advocate doing excessive things to the Uchiha family, so of course, Uchiha Qiye took this favor in his heart. Yuan Fei stood up angrily, looked at Uchiha Qiye and said, "We Konoha executives are having a meeting on 2.9, how can you break in without authorization?" Uchiha Qiye had opened the door, and there were two Chunin who had opened the door lying outside. They all looked like they had fainted on the ground. Although it wasn't fatal, Uchiha Qiye did this kind of brutal attack. Danzo was also ready to fight at any time. He stood up and glanced at Uchiha Qiye. Chapter 371 Declare War. But at the same time to avoid war. Chapter 371 Declare War. But at the same time to avoid war. Looking at the gatekeeper again, he said angrily, "They were defeated by you, right? Because these gatekeepers are all Danzo's subordinates, knocking them down is equivalent to hitting Danzo in the face. Of course, it is impossible to bear it." Uchiha Qiye smiled coldly. "I said everyone, you guys gathered together to discuss the affairs of our Uchiha family. Why can't I be here as an elder? Are you allowed to speak ill of us behind our backs?" Danzo saw that since the matter has been made clear, there is no need to pretend, so Danzo said, "Since your Uchiha family is so arrogant, then we Konoha have no reason for you to survive." As soon as these words came out, it was equivalent to 14 Danzo unilaterally declaring war on the Uchiha family, but at this time Uchiha Qiye had to make a judgment of the overall situation. Uchiha Qiye gave Danzo a glamorous look, and Danzo felt a strong sense of oppression just by looking at it. He knew that this guy was very strong, but he didn't know how strong it was. Uchiha Qiye said, "Excuse me, is your entire Konoha going to pay our Cosmic Wave family, or Danzo, do you want to fight me one-on-one?" Yuan Fei was also one of the people who came up with the idea. He said, "Uchiha Qiye, since you became the first elder, you have never paid tribute to me, Konoha. Is there such a thing?" Uchiha Qiye looked at Yuan Fei, although this old monkey has some skills, but Uchiha Qiye has no fear at all. "Advertisement," he said, "of course there is. I think this system is very unreasonable. There is no need for our Uchiha family to pay tribute to you. Since everyone is in the same village and it is difficult to fight together, why should we pay tribute? I can't accept it." 9. After saying this, everyone will understand that it was the contemporary Hokage who supported Uchiha Qiye. Now the upper level of Konoha also understands that it was Naruto's idea, and now Danzo's face is completely black. Uchiha Qiye said, then the conversation changed. Also, Naruto, as a new generation of Hokage, doesn't like this exploitative system at all, and hopes to make progress together with our Uchiha family. The feudal etiquette of paying tribute should be abandoned at all. There were hundreds of Jonin present, almost all of them, and Uchiha was declaring war on Danzo by saying this. "We are Konoha's council, and this kind of thing can only be implemented with our consent. Why did you make 887 pieces by yourself?" So Uchiha Qiye said, "As a member of Konoha and the elder of the Uchiha family, my words should have weight. Since Danzo does not agree with this etiquette, we can discuss it and use this simple method to make choices and avoid massive bloodshed. What do you think?" So everyone looked at Naruto. Of course Naruto was going to stand up. He said, "Yes, in the last ninja war, it was me and Uchiha Sasuke who settled the turmoil in the whole world together. The Uchiha family has already died with our Konoha. Where do we need tribute?" Hearing what Danzo said, of course Uchiha Qiye couldn't bear it anymore. Naruto was willing to stand on the side of the Uchiha family. Then of course Uchiha Qiye had to unite this Naruto well. Chapter 372 There's no limit to the conspiracy of the upper levels. Chapter 372 There's no limit to the conspiracy of the upper levels. The meaning is also very simple. If Danzo is stronger than him, then the tribute will be used as a protection fee, and if he is defeated by Uchiha Qiye, then this matter will not be mentioned in the future. And Uchiha Qiye can represent the fighting power of the Uchiha family. If Uchiha Qiye can really defeat Uchiha Qiye, then there is no need for this group to exist. This belongs to the smallest sacrifice in exchange for the greatest peace. Immediately, Danzo also naturally understood what it meant, and agreed immediately, okay, see you tomorrow at the reservoir, it's spacious, we don't care about life or death, let's have a good fight. Since Danzo agreed so happily, then Uchiha Qiye is going to fight. Although Cosmic Wave Qiye doesn't know how strong Danzo is, he must fight against Danzo for the honor of the family and for the sake of pretending to be strong. 1. Uchiha Qiye said, yes, I hope all Jonin will be present to testify this matter. Tomorrow afternoon, it will be a decisive battle between Uchiha Qiye and Danzo, and this battle is likely to have a life and death situation. Everyone has some uneasy feeling in their hearts, and this feeling will spread, and all Jonin are frowning. But this is also a kind of good news. It can avoid a wider range of civil strife in Konoha. It is better to die alone than a group of people. Uchiha Qiye walked out and slammed the door heavily. He was in a very unhappy mood, because whether he was going to the land of soil or the land of water, he had always concealed his identity, even though he had no country for a long time. Concept, but it makes Konoha feel more like his own home. Advertisement. This nostalgia. Uchiha Qiye lingers in his heart, but now seeing people in his hometown jumping out of several councils and saying that their family will be leveled, this kind of thing makes people very sad and even heartbroken of. Uchiha Qiye thought, Konoha is too pedantic, although this parliamentary system can contain Hokage to a great extent, but if Hokage is not done well, he will become a puppet-like figure. Uchiha Qiye went back with a sad and bitter feeling. After he went out, Yuan Fei glanced at Danzo. In this game, we have to do whatever we can. Jonin is in the group, and let Chunin isolate everyone in the village. As long as Uchiha Qiye dies, then our goal is reached. Yuan Fei issued an order directly, and the meaning is very simple, that is to let Danzo use all his strength, regardless of the light or the dark. As long as Uchiha Qiye is killed, then everything is easy to say, because once this spiritual pillar falls, the entire Uchiha family is just a group of wine bags and rice bags, and there is nothing to fight. Naruto was a little indignant when he heard Yuan Fei's plan, and even at this time he was still speaking for Uchiha Qiye. I advise you to fight a fair duel. Qian Zhao. Danzo has reached the limit of his endurance. He stood up abruptly and said in a very bad tone, Naruto, don't be too naive, for the safety and future of our entire Konoha, any means is a formal means. 39. Then he glanced at Jonin around him. According to Yuan Fei's instructions, get ready, and bring Chunin to isolate the people in the village. Yes. A group of Jonin received the order and retreated one after another. Chapter 373. Change to Hokage? Assassin waiting for opportunity. Chapter 373. Change to Hokage? Assassin waiting for opportunity. This is the meeting between the senior management of Konoha. There is no conspiracy, only conspiracy, and all this makes Naruto, who is still young, feel a little panic, even a disgusting feeling. He can't accept Konoha's approach at all. Moreover, I have a feeling of being overridden. This group of people only listen to Yuan Fei and Danzo. One is the former Hokage and the other is the former Minister Anbu. All masters have monstrous rights. Even if they retire, they will still stabilize their own rule, which made Naruto simply unacceptable. 887. There are only 3 of their most important people left in the house now. Naruto's eyes drooped secretly, and at the same time he thought in his heart, it seems really necessary to clean up something like the parliament. There is no such thing at all. Significance. It is possible to cooperate with Uchiha Qiye to eradicate the council, and the leaves are still bright. Naruto said, 2 seniors, I stepped down. I couldn't agree with this matter from beginning to end, so I didn't participate. After he finished speaking, he didn't give them a good look, and went out by himself. Danzo and Yuan Fei looked at each other, already thinking in their hearts, they seemed to support an obedient Hokage to take office, and they had lost confidence in Naruto. Going back to Naruto in his Hokage office, he was naturally in a very bad mood, and Ashima also walked in time. The middle-aged man was fashionable for a while, with a cigarette in his mouth, looking at the unhappy Naruto and said, I'm also a Jonin, and I've been watching this conference, and I feel that Danzo's approach is too much. 35. Advertisement. Naruto sighed and said, they may not know Uchiha Qiye's power at all. Danzo will definitely not be Uchiha Qiye's opponent. If the two of you and Hong really fight at that time, it's fine to watch from the sidelines, and don't do anything. Ashima is a middle-aged person, and her ability to observe words is naturally much sharper than Naruto. Even Naruto can see it, let alone others. Konoha is about to change. Yes, Hong and I are only watching the scene. If there is anything I need to do at that time, just let me do it directly. Naruto sighed and said, of course I am aware of this matter, but I really have no other way. You should also see that Danzo and Yuan Fei are even considering replacing my Hokage. Naruto nodded. He was in a very bad mood now, and asked Ashima to retreat. Hong is Ashima's lover. The two, BECJ, have a very good relationship, and they almost got married. Ashima has always been loyal to Naruto and will naturally listen to Naruto's words. They are always hiding in the shadows, performing jobs that can't be seen at all, or assassinating, or spying on secret intelligence. Ashima said, this is also a guarantee, and said, the Cosmic Wave Qiye will probably help us get rid of Danzo and even Yuan Fei, which is not what we want to see, because they have also done it to Konoha. Great contribution. But Ashima said, anyway, if possible, it's better not to tear it up, and then we'll act accordingly. 9. Danzo is in a dark underground palace. This underground palace is only known to the people of Konoha Anbu. It is a top-secret place, even Hokage does not know. This is the power of Anbu. Chapter 374 Ingratitude, Revenge for Kindness. Chapter 374 Ingratitude, Revenge for Kindness. All in the shadows. After Danzo made a gesture, the 7 hidden masters gathered in front of Danzo at once. Danzo said, "Tonight, the Uchiha family will not stay alive, dodge as much as possible when encountering Uchiha Qiye, others, kill one when they see one, but remember not to reveal your identity." These 7 people can be regarded as the dead men of Danzo. They will do whatever they want, and they will never betray. Even if they are caught alive by the enemy, they will self-destruct chakra in their bodies, and they will never sell anyone. Clue. Yes, 7 people flew out at once after receiving the order. It seems that tonight is destined to be a sleepless night. After Danzo finished explaining the task, a man with a hat came out next to him. Naturally it was Yuan Fei. With an unusually serious expression, Yuan Fei said, "No matter what the outcome is, Uchiha Qiye will definitely guess that this is what we did. Once we make this decision, it is equivalent to declaring war on the Uchiha family." Danzo's face was so dark that he could almost drip water, and he said, "Yes, of course this is going to be a declaration of war. We must not sit back and wait. Don't you see how arrogant Uchiha Qiye is, actually in front of us?" The goalkeeper was knocked unconscious, and then forcibly participated in our meeting. He stepped on the red line first, so we can't be blamed. 99. Yuan Fei nodded. The 2 people cooperated very tacitly from beginning to end, because the 3 views of the 2 people were very consistent. Yuan Fei said, "Although the cosmic wave Qiye is very strong, it can't be you and me, and all Jonin's opponents. After taking him down, the next step is Naruto." Advertisement. Danzo's eyes darkened. Naruto was indeed not a very desirable candidate, so it must be necessary to replace Naruto. So Danzo asked, "Is there a better candidate?" Yuan Fei frowned. In this young generation, no one can surpass Naruto in terms of force, but in terms of popularity, Hitaki Kakashi is a good candidate. Yuan Fei then said, "What do you think of Kakashi?" Danzo thought for a moment about Hitaki Kakashi, a man who was once known as a genius in Konoha. He has worked in many departments in Konoha, and his execution is excellent, and he has always been well received. For flowers. However, because Naruto was a penultimate in the last Ninja World War, and Hitaki Kakashi was naturally indifferent to fame and fortune, he naturally gave Naruto the position of Hokage. Danzo just wants this kind of Hokage who doesn't have any possessiveness about his position and unconditionally executes the orders from the upper level, so Hitaki Kakashi is just right. So Danzo said, "I think he can, but Naruto is still too young to understand how much danger there is. 35. The 2 people have also made a consensus discussion on the goal and interests of the backup candidates, so they are looking forward to catching a turtle in the urn of Uchiha Qiye tomorrow. At this time, the cosmic wave Qiye has returned to the Uchiha family, and his face is very ugly. He originally used Konoha as his home, but he did not expect that the upper Konoha would only use him as a bomb. A tailed beast that ran out of the land of the earth before, a group of Jonin, like trash, can't destroy the earth at all. Chapter 375 Strong Murder, Liang Na's Insight. Chapter 375 Strong Murder, Liang Na's Insight. But only the cosmic wave Qiye wiped out the tailed beast without any loss. They were not only ungrateful, but also killed their family. In this case, there is no need for the old antiques of this group of councils to exist, as long as Naruto is good. Konan and Nagato looked at Uchiha Qiye in a bad mood, and at 887, Konan asked, "What's the matter? Is there any problem with their meeting?" Uchiha Qiye explained all the things in it, which made Konan and Nagato very excited. Nagato said, "Danzo always does things behind his back, and he does it very well. We must not be careless." Konan looked at the sky outside the window, and it was gradually darkening. Danzo is a powerful and unscrupulous person. Tomorrow we have to take more precautions, and we must let me and Nagato join you in the war. Uchiha Qiye doesn't worry about this. He knows his own strength. It's not too difficult to destroy a country by himself, but he is very cold about Konoha's actions. So Uchiha Qiye said, "Okay, go with me tomorrow. Let Uchiha Lianga stay in the family. Anyone who dares to attack will be killed without mercy, no matter who it is, show no mercy." Konan, who is also a woman with Uchiha Lianga, naturally got closer and closer, so after receiving the task of Uchiha Qiye, he went to find the talented girl. Nagato sat with Uchiha Qiye in the bedroom. The night outside the window gradually thickened, like a murderous intent, gradually infiltrating the Uchiha family. Tick, tick, advertisement. The sound of water flowing slowly. Uchiha Lianga was in her study, watching the scene of water droplets passing through the stone, thinking about the techniques she has been practicing recently. But looking at the flow of the water, an inexplicable feeling spread. The water droplets were fast and slow for a while. This is not a good phenomenon. At the same time, Uchiha Rana's mood also became a little irritable, and she didn't know what was coming. Since she was a child, her parents were killed in a massacre. As an orphan, she has always had a strong intuitive ability, which is because of the broken sense of security, which makes her character a little suspicious. But officially because of this suspicion, she escaped death several times, and the change of the water droplet made her feel an unprecedented sense of panic. Uchiha Rana felt that this was definitely not a coincidence. Just when my vigilance was raised, someone suddenly knocked on the door. Uchiha Lianga directly opened the blood wheel eye, looking at the structure and figure of the outsider chakra, and suddenly felt at ease. It turned out to be Konan. She walked over and opened the door with a creak, but Conan was taken aback. After all, the blood wheel eye was opened directly, and Conan thought what was going on. You scared me to death in 2.9, why open the door for me? Uchiha Rana smiled unnaturally, I don't feel right tonight. Conan glanced at Cosmic Polana strangely, nodded and said, there are indeed some things to talk to you about. Conan told the current conflicts and pros and cons between the Uchiha family and Konoha to the universe Polana. Chapter 376 The Assassin's Spell, suddenly destroyed. Chapter 376 The Assassin's Spell, suddenly destroyed. Her blood boiled and she felt that she would definitely come in handy, but she was a little disappointed to hear Conan talk about Uchiha Qiye asking her to stay in the family to protect her family. Because Cosmic Polana thought it was an idle job and Uchiha Qiye didn't trust her very much, she wanted to run out to fight and have a good fight with the upper Konoha who had been standing above her head. So Uchiha Leonga's expression became a little melancholy, but when she thought that she had to obey the discipline, she could only say, okay, I will obey the arrangement of the elder. Of course Conan understood her feelings, so he comforted, the rear is also the base camp of the Uchiha family, in fact, this is an important task, and the people in the family 14 rely on you to protect. Of course Uchiha knew that Conan was comforting her, so she nodded and went out with Conan. Conan was about to go back, and the moment Uchiha opened the door for him, she noticed that the water droplets just now had completely stopped, and there was a murderous aura in the air. How is this possible? There are only two people here, Uchiha Rana and Conan. Does Conan have murderous intentions towards her? This is something Uchiha Rana cannot believe anyway. So he immediately opened Mangekyo's blood wheel eye, and at the moment Conan just turned around and looked back, she was suddenly startled again. Because in those eyes, Conan saw Uchiha Rana's extremely serious expression, and a strong murderous aura pervaded as if it were real. Advertisement. The shuriken in Uchiha Rana's hand stabbed directly in Conan's direction, and the sharp and cold dagger directly stunned Conan's face. Conan had never been wary of Uchiha Leonga, and she had no time to defend herself. She thought to herself that this time was probably aimed at her heart. If she was stabbed, she would definitely be dead in an instant. Conan said, it's Konoha Anbu's exclusive incantation, as long as the mission fails, the incantation will automatically show up, and once others see the body, it will burn itself. Soon, Conan squatted down and raised the face of the man in black with a red incantation on his face. When he saw the incantation, Uchiha Rana immediately shouted, don't look at 887. With a puff, a corpse fell down, and Conan realized that someone was going to kill her just now. It was Cosmic Polana who killed the man in black behind him at a faster speed. But all of this happened between lightning and flint, and with a puff, the shuriken pierced into one's chest at once. It turns out that the two of them have fully realized how terrible Konoha's Danzo is. Tick-tock, blood-filled guy, Conan's face turned pale, only to find out that Uchiha Ryona didn't stab her at all, but the person behind her. Conan was also a battle-hardened woman, and the sudden change only gave her a brief fright. Conan still doesn't know what's going on. The moment he saw the incantation, he saw the strange symbol of the incantation burst into flames. The flames exploded inside the body of the man in black. In just a few seconds, the man in black completely turned into ashes, leaving no clues at all. Chapter 377 Massive Slaughter, Secret War. Chapter 377 Massive Slaughter, Secret War. He had already made up his mind that the Uchiha family must be leveled. Cosmic Wave Rana said, it's not good. It can't be just me who was killed here, the members of the Cosmic Wave in other places are likely to be slaughtered too. 39. Conan also realized the seriousness of the problem, and immediately said, go. Let's report to the elders together. The two of them ran out together, but just a few steps away, they heard screams and screams. What? This scream, combined with the sound of the sword falling, was a kind of slaughter, and Conan and Uchiha joined the battle together. Those black-clothed people are all strong, and some of them have reached the level of Jonin, and they are not guys that can be killed in a short time. Immediately afterwards, the screams continued to rise and fall, and in just a few minutes, at least hundreds of Uchiha family members were killed in this assassination. All of a sudden, the blood of the Uchiha family flowed into a river. At this moment, Uchiha Qiye suddenly jumped out, holding a Tianlei sword in his hand. When he met a god, he killed a god, and when he saw a Buddha, he killed the Buddha. Uchiha Qiye was rarely angry, and he seldom had any real killing intent on the enemy in front of him, but this time Uchiha Qiye was simply possessed by a killing god. No matter how strong the opponent was, he was all killed by the Cosmic Wave Qiye. The thunder god roared in the sky, the eyes of this man who conquered the god of thunder were rolling with electricity, and the eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eyes were dripping blood. Advertisement. After about 5 minutes, all the Konoha Anbu killers died at the hands of Uchiha Qiye. But almost at the same time, all of themselves burned up, and no evidence was left behind, only a puff of dust drifted away in the wind. Uchiha Qiye said, about a dozen black-clothed ninjas have all died, now count how many people in our Uchiha family died. Quote. Only then did Nagato come out of the crowd, because he also killed 2 men in black and was injured himself, and he was fighting against 2 Jonin, who were very powerful. Nagato said, I just counted, and the number of people who died here has reached 125, of which 25 are half of the elderly and weak, women and children, they kill anyone they see, and there is not a trace at all. Compassion. This time, there was a lot of noise, and Uchiha Qiye held a meeting overnight. There are about 300 or 400 members of the remaining Uchiha family. They have died of family members and friends, and they have an extremely resentful atmosphere in their hearts. They can't wait to slaughter the whole Musha. But with this number of people, how could it be against the entire Konoha? So Uchiha Qiye called them together for an urgent meeting. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, do you have anything to say about this matter, Qian Zhao?" At this time, some old antiques of the Stability Maintenance faction finally have a place to speak. They have always compromised under Konoha's obscenity, thinking that this is the long-term solution. The old man of the Stability Maintenance faction said, "Why did I tell you, don't challenge Konoha?" This time they slapped their face directly, of course they will take revenge. Speaking of hitting them in the face, of course, it was the matter that Cosmic Varana defeated all of Konoha Jonin's apprentices. Chapter 378 The family must be cleaned up. The decline of the Stability Maintenance faction. Chapter 378 The family must be cleaned up. The decline of the Stability Maintenance faction. Uchiha Qiye has already seen the faces of these people clearly. The people of the Stability Maintenance faction usually look like they are doing a good job. People who see Konoha can't even move their legs. They are a group of old antiques that are about to die. This is the complete opposite of Uchiha Qiye's style, so he asked Uchiha Rana's opinion. Uchiha Leon's eyes were still cold, and those arrogant eyes concealed a bit of arrogance, and said to the Cosmic Wave Qiye, "Our Cosmic Wave family will inevitably resist, whoever bullies us will be damned." Cosmic Wave Qiye wanted this answer, but he knew that it must be the ghost of Danzo. Those dead men in black were all Konoha Anbu. Although the bodies were all incinerated, no evidence could be found. Can think of 887, it must be Danzo's hands and feet. The person who supports Danzo is Yuan Fei, all of whom are from the previous generation of Konoha, and have nothing to do with Naruto, and even Naruto has a good impression of the Uchiha family. So Uchiha Qiye knew who he should target, and he knew how to deal with it. He just wanted to clear the inside and see who was causing the rhythm with unclear minds. So at this time, the Cosmic Wave Qiye did not express his position, and while the members of the Uchiha family were all here, he asked the crowd, "Who of you insists on maintaining stability and gives Konoha a BECJ film, this matter will be turned over." The old man who insisted on maintaining stability naturally stood on the left. The old man's name was Uchiha Ran. He enjoyed a certain prestige among the Uchiha family, but because his qualifications were too old, he had only opened the primary blood wheel eye until now. In this small battle, he made meritorious deeds, but it was because his strength was too low that he could not be recognized by the elders of all dynasties. Just as Uchiha finished speaking, he hoped that everyone would stand in line, but unexpectedly more than 10 people stood beside Uchiha Ran. After getting older this year, I began to distort my psychology, always hoping that I could be recognized and treated preferentially, and to be recognized by everyone from the viewpoint of maintaining stability. The remaining group of people automatically stood by Cosmic Balana's side. You must know that there are hundreds of people in the remaining group. It seems that people are very disapproving of maintaining stability. Uchiha Qiye knew in his heart that the reason why an ethnic group was in turmoil was because of disagreement, and there were always some old-fashioned people who kept stumbling behind. The same is true for Konoha. The leaders of the previous generation always thought that the Cosmic Wave family would rebel. Uchiha Qiye said, "Cosmic Wave Ran, you should have seen that none of the people in my ethnic group are greedy for life and fear of death. Since you like maintaining stability so much, you can stand up for yourself." He jumped up angrily and said, "Uchiha Qiye, don't play tricks with me here. When I made great achievements in the Uchiha family, you were just a little boy. You dared to expel me when you became a great elder. Already." This is Uchiha Qiye's cleverness, because he wants to take advantage of this mentality of people wanting revenge to break the illusion of this group of people to maintain stability, and let them know that grievances will never benefit. As soon as these words came out, they directly grabbed the throats of this group of people who insisted on maintaining stability, and let them stand on their own, but they meant to expel this group of people, and Uchiha Ran was immediately dumbfounded. Chapter 379 Just sacrifice those old antiques to heaven. Chapter 379 Just sacrifice those old antiques to heaven. Therefore, Naruto is also tied up. Cosmic Wave Qiye's determination was strong. He stood up and said, "Since you are still living in the last century, then take a good look at your sins." Eternal Mangekyo's blood wheel eyes opened directly, appearing even more ghostly in this dark night. Yina is beautiful. Because the Cosmic Wave Qiye's blood wheel eye pupil is the strongest, this is the natural blood pressure suppression. All these old antiques fell into Yina Shime's ninjutsu in an instant. Since Uchiha Qiye learned Ina Yami, this is the first time to use it. He originally thought of using it as a finishing skill on Mi Hong, but he never thought of using it directly on the inner clan. The horror of Yina Shime is not to directly cause harm to the released object, but to allow people to stay in the shackles of their own thoughts forever. Come. They will remain in their own fantasy world until the moment when the body dies. This group of people was hit by Yina Shime's illusion all at once, and they all stood there, dumbfounded, and would not wake up no matter how much they moved. Everyone in the clan watched this scene in astonishment. Uchiha Qiye's eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye was enough to shock the clan, and he actually still knew the forbidden ninjutsu that has been handed down from ancient times. His status in the clan is inevitable, is supreme. This group of old antiques is really over the top. Advertisement. Cosmic Wave Qiye said, "We Uchiha clan must not be bullied by others, like this kind of dog who was slaughtered by his own brothers and bows to Konoha. There is no such person in our Cosmic Wave clan." His words were recognized by everyone in the Uchiha family, because the blood of the Cosmic Wave family is hot and supreme, and this group of pedantic stability maintenance sects should be sacrificed to the sky. But Uchiha Qiye was kind and only let them enter into their own illusion. Maybe some people can wake up, and some people will be locked in their mistakes for a lifetime and come out no matter what. It's self-inflicted, self-destruction. Uchiha Qiye said, lock them up in the meditation room and let them rest in peace. 99. For flowers. This group of people all froze there, and a few servants picked up this group of people and walked out. The meeting is not over yet. Cosmic Wave Qiye said after seeing that these old antique gates were all eliminated, tomorrow I will go to the dam in Konoha village to fight Danzo to the death. I have a hunch that this battle will never be so simple. Danzo is the former minister of Anbu, and he will definitely make insidious tricks. 99. The remaining Uchiha members said, I would like to go with you. Such voices come and go, because they all have a strong desire for revenge. They are either dead relatives or friends. The resentment and anger in their hearts can't be dissipated for a while, and they are like caged beasts looking forward to rushing out. A bittersweet fight. Uchiha Qiye looked at them, then waved his hand and said, tomorrow Nagato and Konan will go with me, you stay in the Uchiha family quietly, and the universe Kolana will lead you, what she asks you to do, you must obey the arrangement. People are dissatisfied with staying here. Chapter 380 The healing effect of Qinglong wood style is stronger than that of medical ninjas. Chapter 380 The healing effect of Qinglong wood style is stronger than that of medical ninjas. And Uchiha Qiye certainly understood their minds. Don't worry, tomorrow will be a battle between the two sides. I will fight with Danzo and a group of Jonin in the dam, so I will take Konan and Nagato, but if the rear, Danzo will also send someone to clear it up. This is the battle between the two positions, you can kill it tomorrow. 887. After Uchiha Qiye finished speaking, everyone finally understood what it meant, so they clamored to kill all of Konoha's people. The situation here has been explained, so Uchiha Qiye called everyone to dismiss the meeting, and Konan and the elders looked worried. Because after all, the Uchiha family and Konoha have been friends for several generations, and it is unimaginable that a life and death battle broke out this time. Nagato's face turned pale, because he had been holding on during the meeting just now. After all, he had fought against several Jonin, and injuries were inevitable. He finally lay down and gradually stabilized under Konan's medical ninjutsu. Uchiha Qiye said, did you find anything special when you were fighting them just now? Nagato's face softened, and he had the strength to speak, their moves are fierce, every move is used to kill people, and they are more powerful than the average Jonin, especially good at making sinister moves. 99. Cosmic Wave Qiye nodded and said, it's definitely Danzo's Anbu. I saw that their spell marks are all the same, and those spell marks are unique to Danzo's Anbu slain, so I can't read it wrong. 39. Advertisement. Konan sighed, and the green chakra energy in his hand eased. Fortunately, Nagato's injury was not too severe, not hurting his internal organs, but the wound was too long and too scary, and tomorrow's Nagato may not be able to act. Uchiha Qiye didn't expect that Nagato would be hurt so badly, so he looked at him with concern, and sure enough, there was a long hole extending from the chest to the base of the thigh, and he was lucky to die without losing too much blood. Although the Cosmic Wave Qiye is not a grandmaster of medical ninjutsu, he is indeed someone who can bring the wood style to the ultimate level, and the wood master can have a healing effect. Konan helped Nagato stop the bleeding, but it will take at least 7 days to recover. In this case, Uchiha Qiye couldn't stand it anymore, so he went to Nagato's side to try to help him heal. Uchiha Qiye said, I'll give you a try with wood style. Both Nagato and Konan trusted Uchiha Qiye very much, and they were amazed to see the green chakra in his hands. Is there nothing this man can't do? The ultimate of wood style is the green dragon wood style. A small blue dragon roams in the palm of his hand, blooming with powerful healing radiance, and he strokes the dragon on Nagato's wound. I saw Qinglong swam indirectly, swimming back and forth in Nagato's wound all the time. A 2.9 share of cool and caring feeling made Nagato feel comfortable. The chakra breath is constantly replenishing the Nagato, as if the body is being irrigated by the cooling rain. But after a while, Nagato's originally defeated face gradually turned rosy, and finally the green dragon wood style completely melted into Nagato's body, nourishing all his energy and spirit. Chapter 381 The Dark Side of Danzo's Vicious Conspiracy Konoha. Chapter 381 The Dark Side of Danzo's Vicious Conspiracy Konoha. Nagato felt that he had received the previous recovery, so he sat up in surprise, tried to regulate his own 8 meridians, and felt that he had gained unprecedented power. Not only was he fully recovered, but there was a feeling of being on a higher level than ever, a feeling that filled Nagato with amazement. He excitedly glanced back at Uchiha Qiye. God, you are absolutely amazing. Stronger than any healing Jonin. But when Nagato and Konan took a closer look, Uchiha 14 Qiye's face turned pale, and it seemed that he paid a lot. Don't be afraid, I just used too much vitality, and I can recover as long as I sleep. Uchiha Qiye said in a low voice, he just realized that it takes so much energy to treat others. Nagato and Konan understood, and at the same time filled with gratitude, they all retreated, just to make Uchiha Qiye quiet. Tomorrow is about to face the most brutal battle. This battle may cause more casualties, but for justice, the Uchiha family will not hesitate. The night gradually darkened, and the moonlight in the sky was shrouded in dark clouds. Although the atmosphere was quiet, it gave people a dark night with high winds, brewing murderous intent and secrets. The autumn wind is bleak, bringing a chilling atmosphere in this dark night, and has been strategizing. Danzo, who is in charge of the world in the shadows, is waiting for news in the underground palace. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, a ninja who was extremely injured, and it was long overdue. Advertisement. The black-clothed ninja covered the injured area, and the pus and blood flowed together. It looked like he was dying. He finally ran back, glanced at Danzo who was waiting for news, and knelt down with a plop. He said, "Report Lord Danzo, none of the ninjas we sent survived, including me dying soon, and we killed 102 members of the Cosmic Wave family." Danzo's eyes were cold and serious. "Did you kill Konan, Nagato, and Uchiha Rana? Did it hurt Qiye, the Cosmic Wave?" The man in black took it and thought it was some kind of panacea. With his current physical strength, he would die after 2 days at most. Knowing that he was going to die, he got a pill from his master. This kind of kindness moved him unceasingly. The man in black nodded and said, "Nagato was seriously injured, although he won't die, but we can be sure that he won't be able to move tomorrow. As for the other people, because there are too many people, we didn't kill them." He swallowed it without hesitation. Satisfied, Danzo asked again, "Did those dead subordinates reveal their identities?" The man in black shook his head and said, "No, anyone who dies will ignite spontaneously. Although the Uchiha family must know who did it, they promise not to leave any evidence." 55. More than a dozen people exchanged for the lives of hundreds of people in Uchiha's family, and Nagato was seriously injured. This operation can be said to be a success. These talents are the most critical, and all of them are Uchiha Qiye's right-hand man. As long as they are hurt, they will be earned. A smile appeared on Danzo's gloomy and serious face, and he nodded, "Well done, I won't let you die." At this time, a pill was squeezed out of Danzo's hand, handed to the man in black, and said in a commanding tone, "Swallow." 99 Chapter 382 Is the Uchiha family a beloved god or a cursed devil? Chapter 382 Is the Uchiha family a beloved god or a cursed devil? After chewing for a while, I swallowed it. However, in less than 3 seconds, the abdominal cavity exploded directly, and the internal organs and blood were all torn apart by the powerful pressure under an irresistible airflow. The man in black stared blankly at Danzo. He really didn't understand why Danzo wanted to kill him at such a time. Although he was a dead man and was fully prepared to die, it was still very uncomfortable to be killed by his master himself. The corner of the dead man's mouth trembled slightly. He couldn't speak at all, but Danzo could understand it, and he wanted to ask why Danzo wanted to kill him. Danzo touched the head of the dead man and said, "You still have 2 days to live, and there may be changes in these 2 days. Your death is the best reward for me." The dead man closed his eyes and understood what it meant in his heart. He was afraid that he would be caught and inquired about the truth of the matter, leaving a clue for the enemy. After all, Danzo didn't even fully trust the dead man, but it didn't matter. The mission of the dead man was to die for his master. Since Danzo wanted him to die, he had to die. With a plop, the dead man fell to the ground, blood flowing along the cement floor, like the brightest spark. At this time, a few ninjas came in from the outside, but after a while, they cleaned up the corpses and the pile of dirty things on the ground. Advertisement. In the huge underground palace, Danzo is like a leader who always guards in the shadows. He is ruthless, cold-blooded, and strategizing. These insidious qualities can be imposed on him. It seems that from the day he was born, Danzo was destined to be the best candidate for Anbu. With such a character, it is easy for a race to abandon itself and become evil and dark. Therefore, people in Konoha have always looked at this clan who was cursed by God and never dared to get close to him. Because once they get close, they may become the target for them to improve their self-strength. Danzo said, "Today is just to test the water. The average level of the Uchiha family is not high, a total of more than 500 people, and more than 10 of us killed hundreds of people, which proves that they are nothing more than that." I don't know where a person flashed out. At this time, the gray beard was still wearing a hat, and he was holding a cigarette bag in his hand. He said with a little pity, "It's a pity that so many outstanding soldiers died at once." Pipe. Quote. Danzo was not surprised at the arrival of Yuan Fei, because apart from Anbu's people, only the previous generation Hokage could come and go freely. Only by killing the person he loves, will the blood wheel eyes of the Uchiha family continue to evolve and improve. Yuan Fei does not recognize it as a race blessed by the gods. This is a curse. Do you want strength or love? Always make a choice. Therefore, the powerful people in the Uchiha family are always in pain. Qian Jiao, they have real love in their hearts, and they have to keep recalling the past of killing their loved ones, so they are lonely, secluded, unable to face and can't go back. Yuan Fei nodded. He also agreed with this point of view. Since ancient times, there have been only a few outstanding people in the Uchiha family. It was brought, completely by God's will. Chapter 383 If you want to make trouble, make it bigger. Chapter 383 If you want to make trouble, make it bigger. Yuan Fei said, "Very good, as long as we work together to kill Uchiha Qiye tomorrow, the remaining group of Uchiha family members will be slaughtering chickens and dogs. At that time, we can forge a lot of evidence to prove that the Uchiha family has rebelled." This coincides with Danzo's idea. These two old guys have gathered conspiracy, selfishness, and shrewdness, otherwise they would not have cooperated so closely before. After the two finished their discussion, Yuan Fei walked out, leaving Danzo alone to guard the dark underground palace. At this time, he was still dealing with Anbu exchanges between Konoha and other countries, one letter after another, and one assassination mission. Danzo guards the bottom layer of Konoha, protecting Konoha from sunlight in a dark way. The next day, the next morning. Maybe it was because of the dark clouds and demonic winds that were all over the place yesterday, but today it was actually foggy and the visibility was very low. But Uchiha Qiye likes this kind of weather inexplicably. He likes that others can't see him clearly, and he likes that he can see through others in a hazy situation. Today's Uchiha family is shrouded in a wait-and-see mood, and everyone knows that this day will inevitably bring a bloody storm. Konan and Nagato have also prepared their uniforms. When they went out to buy things, they felt that the villagers in Konoha didn't go out very much today. When they happened to see the two of them, they also avoided it. Advertisement. The two didn't communicate much, they bought some daily necessities and came back to the Uchiha family. After Uchiha Qiye slept again, the chakra in his body had fully recovered, and he had adjusted himself to the best state, waiting for the duel in the afternoon. After Konan and Nagato came back, they told Qiye about what they saw today. While eating tea, Uchiha Qiye said, "It seems that the news of the massacre of the Uchiha family yesterday has been leaked, and probably the whole Konoha village knows about this BECJ affair, so the relationship between Konoha and Uchiha has been leaked. None of them wanted to offend them, and none of them wanted to get close." Konan nodded. After all, yesterday's incident was too much trouble, and it has been fermented now. It's not an exaggeration to say that it was a storm. Uchiha Qiye suddenly had an idea, since everyone in Konoha knew about this, then he and Danzo were going to fight at the dam in the afternoon, and he had to reveal the news. The first point is to let the villagers know the true colors of Danzo and Yuan Fei and uncover their conspiracy. The second point is the most important, and that is the harvesting point. The more people who watch it, the more fun it will be to pretend to be harvesting. So Uchiha Qiye called a few members of the Uchiha family and asked them to let the wind out, so that everyone in Konoha village knew about it. After a while, the people in the Uchiha family did things neatly, and the whole Konoha village knew that Uchiha Qiye would challenge Danzo on behalf of the Uchiha family. This news is absolutely explosive, and it has been passed on by dozens, and the whole Konoha village knows the news. This will become a confrontation between the Uchiha family and the entire Konoha family. In Hokage's office, Naruto slapped the latest official copy on the table with a bang, and roared angrily, "It's not long since the ninja world was at peace, how come it's getting up again?" Chapter 384 Naruto's Bottom Line. Directly dismissed Hokage. Chapter 384 Naruto's Bottom Line. Directly dismissed Hokage. In the office, Ashima, Danzo and Yuan Fei were both present. This was the first time Yuan Fei saw that the puppet Hokage had made such a big fire. Danzo said, "The cosmic wave family is the cancer in the leaves, which must be eradicated. There is nothing to discuss." Danzo's attitude is arrogant. As a former Anbu minister and an important member of the current parliamentary organization, he didn't take this little Naruto in his eyes at all. And Yuan Fei's attitude has always been tied to Danzo. Yuan Fei is still smoking a cigarette, ignoring Hokage's attitude now, and Naruto's position is very embarrassing. Yuan Fei said, "Naruto, you are still too naive. The fighting strength of the Uchiha family is not as simple as it seems. Yesterday we did send people to kill Uchiha." As soon as these words were said, Naruto looked at them in shock. He didn't expect that the rumors were true. The people of these councils launched an attack on the Uchiha family without Naruto's permission at all. What's the use of his Hokage? Naruto said, "I am very distressed by your parliamentary interference, and I will never give you any help if you go your way." At this time, Yuan Fei frowned. Little Naruto's uncooperative attitude from beginning to end had already made him very distressed. Now that the war with the Uchiha family is about to break out, Naruto still has a tendency to defect, which makes Yuan Fei very distressed. So Yuan Fei stood up, looked at Naruto calmly and seriously, and said suffocating words, "Naruto, the council has the right to recall Hokage. After this battle, your Hokage position will not be used." 9. This sentence literally touches Naruto's bottom line. Advertisement. Ashima, who had been standing on the sidelines and did not participate in their conversation with each other, also glanced at Yuan Fei very unexpectedly. She did not expect to draw a clear line with Naruto so quickly, which made Ashima also realize the urgency of the situation. Naruto seemed to have sensed what they were doing behind their backs, so he said, "If that's the case, then I'll also make it clear that I will publicly support the Uchiha family." Danzo was furious. Because once Naruto publicly supports the Uchiha family, then the Uchiha family will get the power of the upper class and the justice in name, because Naruto represents the will of the Hokage, although it has not been deposed yet. Ask for flowers. If Naruto and the Uchiha family unite, then the status of Danzo and Yuan Fei will be embarrassed, and they will be in the name of the traitors of Hokage. Danzo said, "Naruto, don't be ridiculous, I will tell you the story behind the Uchiha family slowly, and I will tell you everything after I duel with Uchiha Qiye. Naruto, after all, has been baptized by Hokage, and at this moment he doesn't sway anymore, but says, your duel is completely public, and of course I can't intervene during this period, but to be fair, I will also watch it. Duel, don't think about playing tricks." 5. Playing tricks is of course Anbu's strong point. If he is surrounded by people, his strength will definitely be greatly reduced. But so what? As long as Uchiha Qiye can be killed, Then history will be written by the victors, and then we can compose some stories to let the villagers know how bad the Cosmic Wave family is. Chapter 385 The Battle of Life and Death is about to start. Chapter 385 The Battle of Life and Death is about to start. When the Hokage is replaced, their dynasty will still be theirs. After thinking about this, Danzo responded quickly and snorted coldly, just please. 35. After finishing speaking, Danzo and Yuan Fei went out together, leaving only Ashima and Naruto. Ashima said, the people in the parliament are too arrogant. The attitude of 887 did not discuss with Hokage, but a forced indoctrination, which greatly affected Hokage's decision-making power. Of course Naruto knew this, so he nodded and said, so I will definitely support the Uchiha family. After finishing speaking, Naruto entered the state of a fairy, and the fairy chakra surrounded him. Ashima saw the situation and knew that she should not disturb him. Time passed quickly. Uchiha Qiye gradually woke up in the time after entering meditation, and now it was time for a decisive battle. After he woke up, he gave the task to everyone, especially Cosmic Polana. After getting his advice, he already knew how to defend against Anbu's attack. So Uchiha Qiye walked out with Nagato and Konan. As soon as they came out, they felt the fog thicker and the streets were empty, which brought a unique feeling to Uchiha Qiye. The calm before the storm, the eve of the coup. Advertisement. Uchiha Qiye sighed. He could never have imagined that he would walk like this among Konoha, and he never imagined that Konoha village, which has always been united, would have a moment of division. Here, not far from the dam, suddenly an erratic figure appeared in front of Uchiha Qiye. Uchiha Qiye took a closer look. Isn't this Naruto's shadow clone? Naruto's shadow clone told the Cosmic Wave Qiye all the plots of Danzo and Yuan Fei, and then said, I will definitely support the Uchiha family in the back. I will lead my confidant Jonin to protect you. You can fight with them at ease. All the Konoha village villagers gathered around, because everyone knew that the Cosmic Wave Qiye was going to fight Danzo, and it was a life and death battle. But the Cosmic Wave Qiye saw that a large number of Chunin were maintaining order, and those villagers who wanted to enter the battlefield to see what was going on were all blocked from the outside. Uchiha Qiye has always trusted Naruto, and since he said so, Uchiha Qiye also believed it, because Naruto was against the war from any point of view, but he did not force his way out for the sake of the overall situation. So Uchiha Qiye asked, Naruto, how did you find me at this time? After the two finished talking, Uchiha Qiye felt more confident and more action-oriented. This is a just war. The key is that this war can still gain a lot of pretending points. Why not? For what? The footsteps of the 2.9 people are getting faster and faster, and finally they come to the dam. There are light yellow circles around his eyes. At first glance, he has entered the fairy state, and he uses a lot of shadow clone, which means that the situation is very urgent. Uchiha Qiye said, very good, I will also help you eradicate these dissidents, and from Konoha, the Uchiha family will definitely cooperate with you. Chapter 386 Let Qiye teach you what a miracle is. Chapter 386 Let Qiye teach you what a miracle is. This made Uchiha Qiye sneer in his heart. If they can't see the truth, then no matter what Danzo does in there, no one else will know, and it will not be easy for Uchiha Qiye to pretend to be a force, so Uchiha Qiye will inevitably try to get rid of it. After the three of them arrived, all the villagers in the periphery stopped making noise, but many people's eyes were around them. Look, it's Uchiha Qiye, so the rumors are true. 14. The Uchiha family is about to split with Konoha. It's terrible. Has the Uchiha family become traitors? Why do you want to do this? 99. When he heard the questions and doubts from a bunch of people, Uchiha Qiye shouted, Danzo and Yuan Fei kidnapped the will of Hokage, I will destroy the traitors of these two councils on behalf of Naruto. One stone stirred up 1,000 waves. Uchiha Qiye's words directly put himself to the point of political correctness. The Cosmic Wave family came together with Hokage to clear the traitors, and this position was immediately put right. People's fishing reels are getting louder and louder, and there are more and more questions between them. Under the leadership of several Chunins, Uchiha Qiye led Konan and Nagato into the dam's competition arena. After entering, there is a 2,000 square meter competition arena, which is very spacious and can perform most of the ninjutsu. The surrounding stands are all Jonin level characters, and of course there are more Anbu people. So Uchiha Qiye understood that it was definitely not just Danzo who was fighting against him, he had to deal with more people. Advertisement. But he is confident, these people are just here to give some pretense. The more people there are, the more he can pretend. The fog was even thicker. During the sunset time, the already thick fog made the visibility very low, so the crowd controlled by Chunin outside could not see what was happening inside. The battle between the two is about to begin, and the Cosmic Wave Qiye sneered and quickly formed a seal in his hand. Fire style, the fire dragon is soaring into the sky. A strong fire style ninjutsu burst out with his seal, and a fire dragon broke through the sky directly, turning clouds and rain in the sky, and all of a sudden the dense fog was dissipated. Because of the rain, Uchiha Qiye was able to perform water style again, water screening. Finally being able to see everything from the outside, we as Konoha village villagers need to know the truth. People were making noises, but the group of Chunin was helpless. This fire and water ninjutsu gave Danzo a slap in the face before it even started. They didn't even know that Uchiha Qiye could not only know lightning style and blood wheel ninjutsu, but also water style and fire ninjutsu. Style can be grandmaster. God, This is also amazing. I just knew that Uchiha Qiye is so strong. The thick fog was all dissipated by Uchiha Qiye, the sky was cool, and a fire dragon swirled in the clouds, raining 903 torrential rain. But the rainstorm did not fall into Konoha village, but formed a water screen in midair, which could completely project the fight scene between him and Danzo, so that all the villagers outside could see it. All I could hear was exclamations from the crowd. There are clouds in the sky and water screens in the world. There are not many people who can do this kind of miracle. Chapter 387 It is right for us to destroy the Uchiha family. Chapter 387 It is right for us to destroy the Uchiha family. They can only prevent the villagers from going in, but they can't stop people from being able to see the sky as long as they look up. The cosmic wave Kia's approach not only shocked the villagers, but even Danzo, who has been strategizing and good at intrigues, was also shocked. And when the people around Jonin and Anbu saw such an aura, their hearts also thumped up. Could it be that Uchiha Kia's ability has completely surpassed their expectations? But as a group of high-quality talents, they can only wait with bated breath, watching the battle seriously. If Danzo has any request, they will definitely rush up. Uchiha Qiye said, "Don't you dare to fight the mouse that has been hiding in the shadows. Are you afraid that everyone will see your true face?" Danzo gritted his teeth angrily, his eyes revealing a bit of murderous intent. He said, "I just don't want the villagers to see the bloody scene. It's all out of good intentions. After all, the battle will end soon. Uchiha Qiye is the Uchiha family's head. The Great Elder has no real material at all." He changed the subject and continued, "Furthermore, all of your crimes of plotting to annex Konoha are also known to me, and our actions to destroy the Uchiha family are just." Uchiha Qiye knew that he would reverse black and white, but he knew that what Danzo could never have imagined was that Hokage Naruto had already used the shadow clone technique to show who was right. Uchiha Qiye said, "Don't talk nonsense, who is right will naturally be decided after the fight." 35. Danzo always wears a thick uniform, no matter the season of the year, and no one knows what secrets lie behind this uniform. Advertisement. Danzo said, "Come on, Uchiha Qiye will show you what true strength is." He fights whenever he says, and no longer talks nonsense to Uchiha Qiye, wind style, vacuum big jade. Uchiha Qiye was surprised to find that Danzo's printing speed was similar to his, but only half a beat slower. And wind style ninjutsu was originally only possible for a small number of grandmasters' techniques, but Danzo would actually use S-class wind style vacuum tatama. I saw the gust of wind gathered in the sky, forming a big blue jade, spinning wildly in the air, and the momentum was simply groundbreaking, and it bombarded Uchiha Qiye directly. Uchiha Qiye immediately opened the blood wheel eye, realizing that if he was hit by this move, his body would probably be torn apart. The Chidori in his hand bloomed at once, with an imposing aura that opened up the world, and slammed towards the big vacuum jade. With a bang, sand and stones flew, and the entire arena trembled slightly amid the sound of explosions. Sure enough, Chidori and Vacuum Taiyu had a tie, but Uchiha Qiye never underestimated Danzo's ability since then. This Nuo's good creature that has been dormant in the ground seems to have some ability. But Uchiha Qiye still somewhat underestimated Danzo's means, just in a gap where Uchiha Qiye stopped for a while, he didn't know when Danzo ran behind him later. Tilde operator the roots are bursting. The speed of Danzo's second seal is amazing, and the root explosion is a wood-style ninjutsu. This guy has so many ninjutsu skills as a grandmaster, which really opens his eyes. Chapter 388 Goodbye 8 Gate, the pinnacle of physical art. Chapter 388 Goodbye 8 Gate, the pinnacle of physical art. Uchiha Qiye was aware of the extreme danger, but he didn't react at all, and saw a huge tree root suddenly burst out from under his body, wrapping him in a circle and rushing directly to the sky. This huge tree root took the shape of a fist, holding Uchiha Qiye tightly, and he was struggling in pain, but found that no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't escape. Danzo looked at everything in front of him coldly and wickedly, thinking that coming to Uchiha Qiye was no big deal. Uchiha Qiye was gripped tightly by the huge tree roots, and the more he rubbed it, the tighter he felt, as if he was about to crush Uchiha Qiye. Konan and Nagato looked very happy, and none of them thought that Danzo was so powerful. Uchiha Qiye suddenly opened the eyes of Mangekyo Blood Wheel, and found that there are hundreds of chakras of Jonin gathered in the roots of the trees, not just Danzo alone. These chakras are all linked in one underground, and there are a steady stream of chakras serving Danzo. Use. No wonder such a strong BECJ chakra erupts. Uchiha Qiye directly burst out with the strongest physical technique, 8 Gate, open. The explosive force that opened the 8 gates together was extremely powerful, and everyone present was stunned. Even Guy, who was turned into a wild beast of Konoha, as the person with the strongest physical skills, would not open the door easily. Uchiha Qiye actually opened it directly at this critical moment. The moment the 8 gate opened, it broke free of all restraints and burst the roots of the tree. With a bang, it was torn apart, and countless wooden roots were scattered. Advertisement. Also shocked was Danzo, who couldn't figure out why Uchiha Qiye actually had such an ability, even the 8 gate could be opened at will. Uchiha Qiye, who had reached the peak of his physical strength, had all his muscles exploding, his whole body seemed to be like a god of killing, and even his hair turned fiery red. At a speed exceeding the speed of sound, he rushed directly to Danzo, who had not yet reacted, and punched Danzo in the face. Boom. Danzo flew out as a whole, and the 2,000 square meter martial arts field, Danzo slammed into the wall like a bullet. And Uchiha Qiye didn't give up at all, and flew towards Danzo, punching and kicking together, and a violent beating. Boom, boom. As if he was venting his endless anger, he beat Danzo to the ground. The power of the 8 gate radiated out, and Uchiha Qiye stood up and looked at Danzo who lay dying at his feet and said, "Do you think I can't see through you? You are mercilessly absorbing hundreds of Anbu Jonin's chakra, and is there any difference between me fighting and being stubborn?" Such a truth can only be seen clearly by Mangekyo's blood wheel eyes, and other audience members are confused and have no idea what Danzo has done. The teeth in Danzo's mouth have been ripped apart by Uchiha Qiye, and the skin on his body has been torn by the violent punching. Danzo's breath gradually calmed down, blood was spitting out of his mouth, and the sullenness in his eyes was even stronger. He never imagined that he was just an elder of the Uchiha family. How could he have such a strong strength? Chapter 389 Wind Style, the power of the seal of the 4 elephants. Chapter 389 Wind Style, the power of the seal of the 4 elephants. And also has the highest state of taijutsu, 8 inner gates, which he could never have imagined. He staggered to his feet and smiled coldly. Although he looked very embarrassed, he seemed to be hiding his back. Danzo said, "Don't be too complacent, Uchiha Qiye, you said that I was ignorant of life. Your Uchiha family will kill the people they love with their own hands in order to improve their pupil skills. This is the real unscrupulousness. You Uchiha clan, the dark, evil, selfish and lowly race, should be eliminated from this world." He roared out, probably this is his sincere words. Danzo stood up tremblingly, because he was infused with hundreds of Jonin's chakra, so his physical strength recovered very quickly, and the next scene shocked everyone again. I saw Danzo tore off his thick military uniform at once, and the secret exposed made even Uchiha Qiye, who had seen many big scenes, feel a burst of horror. Danzo's arms were densely covered with blood-round eyes, and there were about a dozen of them. Uchiha Qiye looked at this horrifying scene and asked, "You, how can you have the blood wheel eyes of our Uchiha clan?" 35. It wasn't just Uchiha Qiye who was shocked, all the Jonin present, as well as the villagers in Konoha village outside saw it. There. Danzo smiled grimly. "What, are you surprised?" As he walked forward, he said wickedly, "Why do you think there are always missing people in your Uchiha clan for so many years?" Just when he said this, Uchiha Qiye thought of something in an instant, but he wasn't sure, he couldn't believe that someone would really be so extreme. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, Danzo really told the truth. "You Uchiha clan are just a bunch of filthy bed bugs, don't take it seriously. I sometimes pick up a bed bug or two and engrave their bloody eyes on me, to feel the power of the blood wheel eye." Saying this, everyone gasped, and no one could imagine that Danzo would be so outrageous. Killing the people of the Uchiha clan for no reason is just to re-engrave the eyes on other people's bodies. Jonin in Konoha couldn't bear to look at them so carelessly. For flowers. Even if helping Danzo is the meaning of the previous generation Hokage Yuan Fei, they have the task of unconditionally obeying orders, and they can no longer accept Danzo in their hearts. Point 0. Danzo took advantage of this short moment, and after opening more than a dozen blood wheel eyes, he released a powerful sealing technique. With the help of Shui Lunyan, the 4-symptom sealing technique was directly sealed, and they turned into strange spells and were engraved on Uchiha Qiye's body, making him unable to move. Uchiha Qiye was completely sealed with the chakra soil of his body by the sealing technique of the 4 signs. I feel like helping Danzo is just abusing me. Uchiha Qiye was already furious with rage, and his mind was a little dazed in this extreme hatred. According to Danzo's estimation, Uchiha Qiye can use up to 4 types of chakra, as long as all of them are sealed, then Uchiha Qiye is no longer any threat. Wind Style, 4-image sealing technique. Therefore, the 4 signs refer to the 4 major signs of feng shui, fire and wood, which can seal all the 4 chakras in the human body and make them unusable. Chapter 390 The truth is revealed to the world, Danzo's death. Chapter 390 The truth is revealed to the world, Danzo's death. They are feng shui and firewood, and his body can't move a single step. Danzo was already on the verge of being beaten by Uchiha Qiye's 8 inner gates just now, but this time he came back to life, but Uchiha Qiye could see that the hundreds of Jonins who had been absorbed by Danzo's chakra were on the verge of being squeezed. Danzo said, "Uchiha Qiye, it's 903. Today, this step is your own fault, and you want to fight against our Konoha, this is your fate." Danzo's image is extremely disgusting. Blood has dripped from the blood wheel eye on his body at this time. This is the side effect of using the blood wheel eye. It can be seen that Danzo has used the power of his whole body. The reason why it drips blood is because these blood round eyes are all basic blood round eyes, which are completely different from Uchiha Qiye's Mangekyo blood round eyes. This is a kind of pressure from blood, and if you force an attack, it will naturally wear out. Extremely serious. Danzo took out a demon sword in his hand, the cold air was terrifying, and a strange spell was engraved on the blade, which looked extremely terrifying. "Die under my sword, become the soul of my sword, and I will also accept your Mangekyo blood wheel eye." Danzo smiled greedily, thinking that he was bound to win, and it was not until this time that Uchiha Qiye thought of Danzo's biggest purpose. He is not simply jealous of the Uchiha family at all, but coveted the blood wheel eye of the Uchiha family, among which Uchiha Qiye's eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye naturally has an incomparable allure to him. Danzo raised the demon knife and was about to stab Uchiha Qiye in the eye. Danzo said, "Uchiha Qiye, remember this knife. All your clansmen died under my demon knife, that's why I used this knife, gouged out the eyes and carved them into my body, now to add yours. 99. Advertisement. Uchiha Qiye finally knew why this knife was so weird. It turned out to be specially used to seal the blood wheel eye. Danzo is in trouble for the Uchiha family, and finds that the newly succeeded Uchiha clan elder has eternal Mangekyo blood round eyes, and is even more drooling. Finally let him find an excuse to exterminate the entire Uchiha family. Uchiha Qiye completely figured out the ulterior purpose of this despicable villain Danzo. Just when the knife was about to poke into Uchiha Kiye's eyes, the ultimate ice escape had already been condensed in his hand. Ice escape originally belonged to the water ninjutsu. Danzo only sealed off Uchiha Kiye's ninjutsu from other ninjutsu types, and he didn't even know that Uchiha Qiye actually had all the ninjutsu of Grandmaster. Frozen for thousands of miles. Uchiha Qiye really took advantage of the fact that he didn't need a knot at all, and even if his body was immobilized, he could exert his full chakra ability. The icicle in his hand hit Danzo instantly, and Danzo couldn't imagine that Uchiha Qiye could still use the ninjutsu even when he completely sealed the ninjutsu and fixed his body. In the final picture, Danzo stared at a pair of 2.9 stunned eyes and held a demon sword in his hand. Uchiha Qiye naturally lifted the seal. Danzo, who was completely frozen, couldn't move at all, and the situation reversed in an instant. However, Uchiha Qiye didn't rush to kill Danzo at all. He turned around and shouted to the water screen in the sky, the villagers of Konoha village. Did you see the truth? Chapter 391 Yuan Fei's debut. The chance to pretend is coming. Chapter 391 Yuan Fei's debut. The chance to pretend is coming. The missing members of my Uchiha family were all assassinated by Danzo. Of course, the crowd outside saw it all, and they hated Danzo. He killed the Uchiha family for no reason, just to get their blood round eyes. It was shameless and dirty to the extreme. It turned out that it was not the Uchiha family who wanted to betray at all, but that Danzo wanted to get the eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye of Uchiha Qiye for his own sake. Jonin already hated Danzo 14 very much in his heart. Originally, he wanted to help Danzo when Danzo died, but at this time, no one of Jonin wanted to help. After Uchiha Qiye finished asking, he turned around and glanced at Danzo, and said to him secretly, "Go to hell Danzo, take all your sins and go to hell." Aina is so beautiful. Uchiha resorted to the legendary forbidden move, and he could freely manipulate the person in the move into what kind of environment. At this time, Danzo was in a hell. The ice block had melted in an instant, and a lot of thick water was coming out of his body, and the hot hell magma was constantly swallowing him. I watched helplessly as Danzo was gradually melting until it was completely wiped out and became a pile of dead bones. From then on, Danzo just disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. The vision that Uchiha Qiye would be besieged by Jonin of Konoha village did not appear, so he turned around and was about to leave. But suddenly a person blocked Uchiha Qiye's retreat. Advertisement. This person is Yuan Fei, the last Hokage. Wait a minute, I haven't told you to leave yet. Yuan Fei's sudden appearance surprised many people. They thought it was just a fight between Uchiha Qiye and Danzo, but who knew that Yuan Fei, an old antique, also appeared. Uchiha Qiye said, "Yuan Fei, wouldn't you still mix with Danzo and become a raccoon dog?" Yuan Fei's face was serious, his eyes were silent, and he said lightly, "Danzo himself admitted that he was a member of the Uchiha family that he assassinated. It really deserves to be damned, but the execution of the death method should be our Konoha penal department. Why do you directly kill him?" Uchiha Qiye sneered, "I have a life and death battle with him, why can't I kill him?" Yuan Fei shook his head. "If he didn't say his crime, then you can fight, but since he has disclosed his crime, and you are still frozen, and you are killed directly by you, it is just a waste of our Konoha. The law." This is the first time that Uchiha Qiye has heard such a bizarre excuse, but isn't this actually just wanting to fight him? What are you doing with so many excuses? Uchiha Qiye said, "Okay, old man, I know what you mean by 903, just fight if you want." Yuan Fei laughed coldly, "I didn't come to fight with you. You must have misunderstood something. I sent Konoha Jonin to encircle you." After finishing speaking, Jonin, who had been in the audience the whole time, stood up together. There were about 100 people in total, and they were so excited to kill Uchiha Qiye. Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, the opportunity to pretend is coming. Since you have given the opportunity like this, don't blame Uchiha Qiye for harvesting and pretending. Uchiha Qiye said, "All of you together will not be my opponent, so don't worry." Chapter 392 Impure World Reincarnation, Hokage of all dynasties appeared. Chapter 392 Impure World Reincarnation, Hokage of all dynasties appeared. This is very crazy. Originally, these Jonin had already felt pity for Uchiha Qiye and his family, but when they heard such crazy words, they had some comparisons. Yuan Fei said, "I know you have some strength, but it's not appropriate to talk like that." Uchiha Qiye sneered, "With your strength, it won't cause any harm to me at all, and I don't have the heart to hurt you, so you can just stand in place." After finishing speaking, Uchiha Qiye made a seal with both hands, Ren Revolving Heaven Burial. 35. Wheel Revolving Heaven Burial. This is Rinnegan's ninjutsu. Could it be that Uchiha Qiye not only has the eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye, but also has Rinnegan, which is something that no one dares to imagine. I saw a few more coffins suddenly appear out of thin air, and the Hokages who were already dead came out of the coffins. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation. Everyone looked at what was in front of them in astonishment. They couldn't believe how such a thing could happen. Rinnegan's power was simply too powerful. These Hokage slowly walked out of the coffin, gradually awakened, and the moment they opened their eyes, they saw the people who were going to be enemies with Uchiha Qiye. First Hokage raised his hand and cast the wood-style spell, wood-style, entwined branches and vines. Advertisement. Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, as expected, even the dead Hokage left a sympathy for the local people, only wrapped around their bodies, and did not do anything to kill them. The other Hokages stared at everyone with serious faces, especially fourth Hokage said, "My Naruto's father, Konoha's golden glitter, I already know the situation here, you can't help the tyrants." Originally, these Jonins already knew the truth of the matter, but Neji Yuanfei's orders had to be obeyed to help him deal with Uchiha Qiye. From an emotional point of view, they didn't want to do it either. Now that the Hokage of all ages have crawled out of the ground, they have no reason to do so. Uchiha Qiye's eyes are full of indifferent gazes, the left side is the eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye, and the right side is the eternal Rinnegan. He with such a divine personality is probably a realm that this group of people can't understand at all. Second Hokage has an explosive temper. As the younger brother of first generation Wood Hokage, he is the ultimate ninja of Water Shield. So Yuanfei said, "Don't be deceived by the cosmic wave Qiye. These are just some illusions, and those Hokage are just false images made up of paper." Uchiha Qiye shook his head and said, "Don't get me wrong, I want to show the Hokage of Konoha's past dynasties to see how Yuanfei, their previous Hokage, helped the tyrant. You actually let the dead rest in peace." Yuanfei looked at everything in front of him in astonishment. The old seniors actually came back to life. Although they used impure world reincarnation, they still shocked Yuanfei. With that said, Uchiha Qiye pointed at the Hokages who climbed out of the ground and said, "Look at them, they don't want to look back at you, good promise, you know how much they despise you." Yuanfei pointed at Uchiha Qiye and made a very angry look, with incredible written all over his face. Yuanfei really took a look at the Hokages of all dynasties, and suddenly found that these Hokages were all paper, and they were figures outlined by paper. Chapter 393 Yuanfei's Absolute Strength. Chapter 393 Yuanfei's Absolute Strength. Water Style, Thang Long Po. A water dragon leapt out of thin air and charged towards Yuanfei, with an extremely ferocious aura, and it looked like it was going to eat Yuanfei directly. But at the moment of reaching Yuanfei's side, Sheng Longbo suddenly burst out of thin air. Second Hokage turned his head and said, "This is my fame, only I can make it out, although we are all dead people pieced together from paper, but the will of the soul has not died, this is the will of fire." Hokage, the will of fire. Yuanfei was speechless for a moment. Now from his standpoint, he has reached the point where he has nowhere to retreat. Now that he has reached this field, he must forcibly kill Uchiha Qiye, otherwise the future Konoha will be Uchiha. The family has the final say. These Hokages can only exist for 10 minutes at most, which is the disadvantage of impure world reincarnation, because reincarnated people must not stay in the world for too long. And those Jonin who are trapped by wood style, there is no need to execute orders at all, because the will of fire of Hokage of all dynasties will never allow them to do things that go against their conscience. Yuanfei looked at Uchiha Qiye ruthlessly, "It's useless to talk too much, let's fight to the death." Uchiha Qiye first launched Mangekyo's blood wheel eye trick, Amaterasu. The sky was covered with dark clouds, and a black cloud lingered above everyone's heads. Suddenly, a huge black flame rushed towards Yuanfei. But Yuanfei seems to have been prepared for a long time. Advertisement. Fire style, Ryujin Jaka. It turns out that Yuanfei has such a high understanding of fire style. The essence of Ryujin Jaka is very close to the true fire of Samadhi, and the essence can also burn everything he touches, including the black flame of Amaterasu. Ryujin Jaka collided with the Amaterasu black fire, and the two flames in the sky were fighting for life and death, and eventually they all became smaller and smaller, turning into a dot. Uchiha Qiye really underestimated Yuanfei's ability. This was the first time he had seen someone who could rival Amaterasu. Yuanfei made a seal in his hand, Earth Style, Detonate Clay. He initiated the Earth Style ninjutsu, and countless Earth stones flew into the sky at this moment and flew towards Uchiha Qiye. Just arrived at Uchiha Qiye's side, countless bombs exploded, and the roaring sound was incessant. Qiye could only resist the cosmic wave. Uchiha Qiye kept resisting the attack, and Yuanfei was already close to Uchiha Qiye's body at this moment, and his hand exuded a strong chakra, lightning style, Lei Chinming. As soon as he heard the voice of this ninjutsu, Uchiha Qiye suddenly felt his neck light up. This is Yuanfei's famous ninjutsu. Lei Chinming has similarities with lightning style Chidori, but they are completely different. Lei Chinming is lightning style's top ninjutsu. A thunder dragon in his hand bursts out 1,000 Zhong thunder light, which contains endless power. It can be said that it is the most destructive ninjutsu among the destruction ninjutsu. If you are hit by this trick, no matter how powerful your physique is, it will definitely be wiped out. Lei Chinming hit Uchiha Qiye at a very fast speed, and with a loud bang, Uchiha Qiye flew out, slammed into the wall with a bang, blood was pouring out. And Thunder Dragon is still wandering in Uchiha Qiye's body trying to destroy everything in him. Chapter 394 Let you meet the man who conquered Thor. Chapter 394 Let you meet the man who conquered Thor. As long as the cosmic wave Qiye does not die, then the Thunder Dragon will not disappear. Seeing this scene, everyone was in a cold sweat for the cosmic wave Qiye. None of them could believe that Yuanfei was so powerful that he defeated Uchiha Qiye who possessed two divine eyes. Yuan Fei smiled coldly, thinking that victory was at hand. He slowly moved in the direction of Uchiha Qiye. But the next scene directly shocked everyone. Uchiha Qiye stood up, as if he was not injured at all. The thunder dragon swam in Uchiha Qiye's body obediently. Yuan Fei suddenly stopped, looked at Uchiha Qiye in surprise, and asked in surprise, "What's the matter? Lightning style doesn't work for you. How is this possible?" Uchiha Qiye was playing with the thunder dragon in his hand. The thunder dragon seemed to be swimming non-stop like a toy in his hand, as if seeing his master, happy and well-behaved. Uchiha Qiye said, "It's just lightning style spells. I forgot to tell you one thing. For me, who has already conquered Thor, all lightning style spells are ineffective for me." This forced several generations of Hokage who had already been indifferent to mundane affairs even turned their heads to look at Uchiha Qiye curiously. That thunder dragon was indeed very well behaved, and it was slowly swimming in the hands of Uchiha Qiye, which was something that all Hokages felt very strange. Is there really a guy who can conquer Thor? It's simply a heaven-defying existence. Yuan Fei said in a panic, "I don't believe it. It's impossible, you must be a liar." Uchiha Qiye was playing with the powerful thunder dragon in his hands, and all of a sudden he inhaled it into his body and became a part of his body's strength. Advertisement. He looked at Yuan Fei and said, "Don't you believe it? Then I'll show you the real Thor." Uchiha Qiye made a seal in his hand, and the speed was extremely fast, which made people look dazzling. It was actually first Hokage who had this ability. As the representative of the second seal, he was already a little ashamed at this time. The speed of Uchiha Qiye's seal has already surpassed him. The first generation has been very impressed by Uchiha Qiye. Lightning style, Thor. After the seal was finished, a sword of thunder suddenly appeared in Qiye's hand, and the sword body was surrounded by an extremely powerful thunder and lightning aura, bursting with radiance. Katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot seeking flowers katakana middle dot. And above the sky, there were thunderstorms, and the dark clouds rolled, as if there was really a visit from the gods. Several Hokages, who had died and came back to life, also looked up at the sky. The thunder god of thunder was looming in the black smoke. This was indeed the ancient god of thunder, the creator of all lightning styles. Point 0. And Thor actually completely possessed his power on Uchiha Qiye's body. Uchiha Qiye's hair was all dyed white, fluttering messily in the wind, and the body was wrapped in Thor's casting armor. The blade of the thunder spirit, which represents the authority of Thor, is even more shining, and the whole person is the incarnation of the god. This is Uchiha Qiye who conquered Thor, raised the blade of the thunder spirit to point at Yuan Fei and said, "Now you believe I conquered Thor. Your mere lightning style can't do me any harm." This wave of pretense not only made Yuan Fei completely convinced of Uchiha Qiye, but also completely harvested the pretense points of the dead Hokage. The group of Jonins have long been thinking about whether to join the battle or not. Chapter 395 Don't care about the dead or the living, as long as it's pretending, I want it. Chapter 395 Don't care about the dead or the living, as long as it's pretending, I want it. Just looking at such a scene, you know that you don't have any part in it at all. The rhetoric released by Uchiha Qiye said that they were not opponents together. It seems that it is really not a rhetoric but a real warning. When the villagers outside the arena saw this scene, they all worshipped Uchiha Qiye like a god, and those Chunin who prevented them from entering were stunned when they saw such a scene. 903. Ding. Pretend point increased by 100,000 points. 9. Ding. Pretend to increase by 90,000 points. Ding. Pretend point increased by 80,000 points. 55. This wave of Uchiha Qiye's harvest is simply a bumper harvest. Not only has he harvested all the pretense points of the living, but he has not even lost the pretense points of the dead. Just one word, cool. Uchiha Qiye pointed his sword at Yuan Fei, and he said, "Whether you believe it or not, I, Uchiha Qiye, the man who conquered Thor, wait for my life." Advertisement. Searching. Uchiha Qiye with Thor's blessing has already surpassed the speed of sound, and every movement has unparalleled Thor's blessing, especially in terms of speed. It is really fast like lightning. Yuan Fei was also a seasoned veteran and knew that he was no match for Uchiha Qiye in terms of speed, so he stood up straight. Earth style. Dungeon technique. Layers and layers of thick land were all wrapped around Yuan Fei's body, and it instantly became as hard as a rock. This was a defensive measure to protect himself from all harm. However, Uchiha Qiye's attack was even more powerful, and the heavenly thunder sword went down directly to pierce the defense of the dungeon technique, but this was a spell that could continue at any time. A knife, a bang, and the sound of the sky falling and the earth cracking, cut off all the earth defenses around Yuan Fei. But in the next second, earth style rose again, and with Uchiha Qiye's attack, those defenses kept falling off, as if there was no end. If things went on like this, it didn't end at all. Uchiha Qiye jumped directly into the sky. In just a moment, the earth style on Yuan Fei's body was completely included on his body, and his protection was extremely strict. Uchiha Qiye said, "You like defense a lot. Well, then I'll cut your earth style completely." Lightning style, Kirin. Advertisement. Lightning style Kirin belongs to lightning style S level ninjutsu. A unicorn falls from the sky, bringing endless roars, and it is attached to the Tianlei sword. The unicorn is the most aggressive dragon among the 9 sons of dragons. Lightning style, the explosive power of the unicorn, is simply destroying the sky and destroying the earth, bursting in the thick earth style defense layer after layer. When reaching a critical point, Uchiha Qiye finally fell at the speed of lightning. He watched helplessly as the unicorn was slashing towards him. After breaking the defense, Yuan Fei was directly slashed and flew out by this sword, and fell to the ground, dying. Chu Yuan and 90 Fen Fei used chakra to protect himself at this sudden moment, but how could there be a strong Qilin offensive? This time, all Earth-style's defenses collapsed in an instant, turning into countless flying sand and rocks, in which Yuan Fei could no longer resist such a powerful impact. The brilliance of the Thunder Sword soared that day, and its power also reached its maximum in an instant. It seemed that the entire sky was instilling energy into Uchiha Qiye's heavenly Thunder Sword. Uchiha Qiye beat Yuan Fei so hard that he couldn't stand up. He moved towards Yuan Fei. Chapter 396 Reveal the Secret. The reason why Yuan Fei wants to destroy the Cosmic Wave family. Chapter 396 Reveal the Secret. The reason why Yuan Fei wants to destroy the Cosmic Wave family. Yuan Fei looked extremely embarrassed at this time. Blood was spitting out from his mouth, and his body was chopped to pieces by Qiye's blade of the Thunder Spirit. He reluctantly supported his body and staggered to stand. Stand up. Uchiha Qiye walked to Yuan Fei's side and said to him, I can understand Danzo's motive for wanting to destroy the Uchiha clan. He is trying to covet eternity Mangekyo Blood Wheel Eyes, how about you? I really can't figure it out. Yuan Fei was already old, and his strength was no match for Uchiha Qiye. He said to Uchiha Qiye, you underestimate the high-level Konoha. The Uchi 14 Wave clan has long been in the plan to be destroyed, because the Uchiha spirits from generation to generation in the ancient war are all trying to destroy the existence of the world. Cosmic Wave Qiye didn't understand his words. What is generation after generation? Uchiha Qiye said, what are you talking about? I don't understand. 35. Anyway, it has come to the point of life and death. If you don't say it, you may bring this secret into the coffin. This is not what Yuan Fei wants to see. Is what the old guy Yuan Fei said is true? Yuan Fei went on to say, whether you believe it or not, this is the truth. Now the world is at peace. Your Uchiha family has always started to rise at such a moment, and then try all means to destroy the peace, so we get rid of you only for the sake of it. Gong, as for what Danzo wants, that's just his selfishness, but getting rid of the Uchiha clan is inevitable. 99. Taking a step back, even if what he said is true, the Uchiha clan today have not done anything wrong at all. How can they be exterminated without any substantial evidence? This is absolutely unacceptable to Uchiha Qiye thing. And Mahong, who first possessed the eternal Rinnegan, was the original intention of destroying the world. He wanted to plunge the entire ninja world into a huge illusion. Uchiha Qiye has been preventing him. So is it a role reversal? So Yuan Fei said, Otsutsuki Kagaya founded the ninja world. There are 3 eyes, 1 blood wheel eye, also known as Rinnegan, and then named Bian. Uchiha Qiye was still very shocked when he heard these words. He couldn't imagine the reincarnation of so many lives, and he didn't even know that there were so many kindness and grievances, but he thought in his heart, clearly his mission in this life is to in saving the world. When do you want to destroy the world yourself? Among them, the Blood Eye family has been the Uchiha family from generation to generation, while the Rinnegan are mostly the heirs of Wood style. The Two-Eyed owner has been competing for generations, but the Uchiha family has always advocated destroying the world. And the Rinnegan family was born to save this world. The 2 spirit generations are so reincarnated, killing each other constantly. 35. After Uchiha Qiye listened to all his statements in 903, although what he heard was vague, it seemed to be prying, because he had seen the entire battle between Uchiha Madara and first Hokage in the secret room of the Uchiha family. The picture, and Uchiha Madara is of course the successor of the Blood Wheel Eye, and it happens that first Hokage can completely grandmaster Wood style. Chapter 397 The reincarnation of the ancient ninja era will never stop. Chapter 397 The reincarnation of the ancient ninja era will never stop. So Uchiha Qiye said, Old man Yuan Fei, even if what you said is right, I can't accept such an unfounded crime at all. At least I, Uchiha Qiye, and everyone in my clan have not rebelled. Tendency, let alone destroying the entire ninja world, so I absolutely cannot accept your rhetoric. Yuan Fei's complexion gradually recovered, which shows how strong the recovery ability of Hokage in the past dynasties is. Yuan Fei, the old man, smiled coldly and said, didn't you summon all the Hokage who have died? You don't believe it. My words, then you ask them if they believe it. 35. Yuan Fei pointed his finger at the Hokage of the past dynasties. They have gone through one era after another, and they must know a lot of inside information and secrets about the Uchiha family. Needless to say, first Hokage, of course, was Uchiha Madara who fought. Did other Hokage have similar things? Uchiha Qiye extended his gaze to the dead Hokage and asked in disbelief, as what Yuan Fei said is true. Those Hokage frowned secretly and lowered their eyes slightly, all with a tacit attitude. In this way, the Uchiha family is not only cursed by the Blood Wheel Eye itself, but also cursed by the fate of reincarnation. Until now, the Cosmic Wave Qiye has only just understood why Danzo is always very wary of the Uchiha family and has an extremely unfriendly attitude, and also understands that the old man Yuan Fei, who has always loved the people like a son, actually wants to make Uchiha indiscriminately. The whole family perished. Yuan Fei is an old antique, he has experienced too many things, and has seen too much human nature. He knows that Uchiha Qiye's sworn assurance at this time is indeed from the heart, but the tendency of reincarnation and spirit is simply unstoppable. Yuan Fei shook his head. Of course I understand your style all along. You have made several great contributions to Konoha village, and I have never denied your achievements, but I trust my intuition. You Uchiha Qiye is that heir of spirit. Sooner or later you will do something to kill everything. Yuan Fei sighed. Of course he would not give up killing Uchiha Qiye, so he said, even if I risk my old life, I will definitely take you to see the King of Hell. Uchiha Qiye said, I will never bear these trumped-up charges, others are others, I am me, if you defeat me, otherwise I will never be able to sit still. So Uchiha Qiye said, even if what you said is true, even if all the Hokages of all dynasties have recognized this history, but I, Uchiha Qiye, swear that as long as I am here, the Uchiha family will never do anything to destroy humanity. Matter. Uchiha Qiye can be considered to understand, but he refuses to accept, he absolutely cannot accept such a fate. Uchiha Qiye felt that he couldn't make sense with him at all, but there was no way. It was a very difficult and promising thing to change an adult's cognition, let alone change an old man's cognition. It turns out that the ultimate reason is the reincarnation of history, the reincarnation of fate. They want to directly kill the Uchiha family in the cradle before the biggest crisis erupts. Chapter 398 Yuan Fei's Forbidden Technique. Shinigami is born. Chapter 398 Yuan Fei's Forbidden Technique. Shinigami is born. Sacrificing myself to complete the peace of the whole world, this kind of thing Yuan Fei is willing to do. Uchiha Qiye didn't know what he was talking about, but suddenly he saw that his body had been completely absorbed by the classics. In such a trance, he saw Yuan Fei's hand that had just formed a seal. He was attacked by surprise. You, what have you done? Uchiha Qiye suddenly panicked, and suddenly felt a strange force completely kidnapped him. He turned his head and saw that something terrifying was hugging his body tightly. Uchiha Qiye knows what that is, and that is Shinigami from hell. Shinigami. Yuan Fei had used such a powerful summoning technique, and he had already signed a contract with Shinigami. Uchiha Qiye said, you can't imagine how even Shinigami is summoned. If you sign a contract with Shinigami, then your soul after death will also belong to Shinigami, and you will never be able to escape from reincarnation. You are really a lunatic. Advertisement. Yuan Fei holds a knife in his mouth, and his soul, BECJ, has also been summoned, because once he uses the Shinigami contract to summon, then Yuan Fei must sacrifice his soul at this moment to be able to summon. Shinigami presents a translucent reminder, the whole person fluttering in the wind in the middle of a white long-distance run, with two horns on his head and a very ferocious mask on his face, he is slowly moving Uchiha little by little. He is soul sucked out. Uchiha's mood was extremely frightening, because any ninjutsu could not be effective against a spirit like Shinigami. Yuan Fei said, the moment I became Hokage, the moment I knew the legend of the Uchiha family, I was ready to sacrifice for Konoha for the entire ninja world. As long as the time is right, I will definitely be with the Uchiha family. Everyone perishes together. Uchiha Qiye watched as his soul was being pulled out bit by bit. The soul that was pulled out had completely cut off the sense of the body. He found that his hands and feet were no longer conscious, and he couldn't move at all. As the development continues, all the souls in the body are kidnapped and pulled away by Shinigami, then they will really die from this world. Yuan Fei casts a spell. Every inch of Uchiha Qiye's soul is pulled out. Yuan Fei's soul is also pulled out an inch. The impure world reincarnation technique used by Uchiha Qiye has resurrected the Hokage of the past dynasties. According to the truth, since he was subjected to the impure world reincarnation, he must obey the order of the summoner. Uchiha Qiye wanted these Hokages to help him stop Yuan Fei, but they didn't move at all. Immediately afterwards, it all turned into pieces after another, and once again said goodbye to this world. And the cosmic wave Qiye looked at his soul, and it was torn out piece by piece, wailing in pain, but there was absolutely nothing to do. The other Jonins were all record-abiding and high-quality ninjas. They were already accused of obeying the council's orders, and it was even more impossible for them to disturb Yuan Fei. Time went on bit by bit, and finally, more than half of the cosmic wave Qiye's body had been completely detached, and the cosmic wave Qiye could hardly feel his body. Chapter 399 They actually got my trick. Chapter 399 They actually got my trick. This panic and fear made Uchiha Qiye really touch the feeling of death. At this time, Nagato and Konan rushed in at once. Facing this kind of variable, dozens of Jonins all stopped in front of Nagato and Konan in an instant. He said to the two of them, I'm sorry, this is a duel between Uchiha Qiye and Yuan Fei, please respect the duel. How could Nagato and Konan care about saying that? They were about to release ninjutsu to stop Yuan Fei, but where are the dozen or so Jonin vegetarians? As soon as they saw that they were about to seal, they took control of their bodies, leaving Nagato and Konan completely immobile. They said, we have neither Uchiha Qiye nor helped Yuan Fei, we have done the utmost fairness, please abide by it. This fight, Nagato and Konan watched the whole process. These Jonin really abide by the rules, although Danzo meant to let their group of strong ninjas help, but they stick to their hearts and absolutely refuse to shoot. In this case, Nagato and Konan have no excuse to shoot, but watching Uchiha Qiye's soul is still constantly pulling out, it will be completely swallowed by Shinigami. Their mood is like a hot pot. I can't stand it at all. But at this time, Uchiha Qiye suddenly caught sight of Nagato and Konan's eager expressions, and secretly spoke in his heart, don't move, in fact, they are all tricked. 35. Advertisement. At this time, Uchiha Qiye actually communicated with them secretly using chakra. Nagato and Konan both heard it, and the two exchanged glances calmly, confirming each other's intentions. So he stopped struggling and calmed down obediently. Nagato said, "Okay, we'll keep the record too." Seeing that they were not struggling at all, more than a dozen Jonin released them, but they still could not relax their vigilance, surrounded the two of them and did not allow them to enter. Point 0. Nagato and Konan panicked. What happened? Did Uchiha Qiye really die? Soon, Shinigami's huge deterrent force has pulled out all the souls in Uchiha Qiye's entire body, and Yuan Fei also contributed his own soul as he wished. Two souls were floating in the air, and Shinigami opened his bloody mouth and swallowed Uchiha Qiye's soul and Yuan Fei's soul together. All the Jonin stood up and saw this scene, and their hearts were filled with emotion. Yuan Fei and Danzo had good motives, just to stop the Uchiha family from doing things that would destroy the ninja world. Shinigami vanished, and the gale just now gradually calmed down, leaving only Yuan Fei's corpse and Uchiha Qiye's corpse, which fell silently to the ground. Why is it rumored that they are all caught up in Uchiha Qiye's scheme? They didn't understand why, but they decided to believe in Uchiha Qiye. This man never disappoints from the beginning to the end, so Nagato and Konan were very nervous, but they are also waiting for the cosmic wave Qiye to create a miracle. Nagato and Konan were sitting on the chairs, the suspicious eyes watching Uchiha Qiye's soul has been almost completely pulled out, only the heels are left. If you pull out a little more, then Uchiha Qiye will be dead. Chapter 402 Souls, even souls can be used to force. Chapter 402 Souls, even souls can be used to force. So until Yuan Fei told the truth and sacrificed himself in exchange for the peace of the whole world, this made Konoha's Jonin feel that Konoha's high-level executives still have a sense of justice, and the suffocating emotion in his heart was swept away. But there is always an indescribable sense of sadness. Uchiha Qiye exchanged his life with the previous generation Hokage for 903, without any fault, which is really desolate. They stood up one after another and walked out of salute gestures to express their respect and recognition to Yuan Fei, but at the same time they also sympathized with Uchiha Qiye, the leader of the Uchiha family who made a lot of contributions for Konoha, but because of the reincarnation of fate, he had to die again. At this moment when his heart was dying, Uchiha Qiye, who was lying on the ground, moved his fingers, slowly opened his eyes, and stood up slowly. Everyone looked stunned. Uchiha Qiye's soul had already been swallowed by Shinigami. What happened? How did it come back to life? After Uchiha Qiye stood up, with a smile on his face, he said to everyone around him, "Don't get me wrong, I am not resurrected, I have more than one soul, but the old man Yuan Fei has only one in his body, so he is real dead, and I just activated the second soul." These remarks stunned everyone at the scene, and the mood and atmosphere that were originally extremely sad were completely lost when Uchiha Qiye got up from the same place. After getting up, Uchiha Qiye looked at Yuan Fei who was lying on the ground and said, "Yuan Fei, if I only have one soul, then your plan is indeed successful, but I really have two, so this battle you still lose." At this time, Nagato and Konan are the happiest. This is simply invincible. The average person has only one soul. He Uchiha Qiye has one more soul than the average person. Although it is incomprehensible, it is the truth. Although no one can explain it, and no one can understand it, after all, Uchiha Qiye really has two souls. All the Jonin were in a dazed state. Yuan Fei's death was so wrong, but he killed one of Uchiha Qiye's souls. Uchiha Qiye walked out with Nagato and Konan swaggeringly. No one stopped them at all. They all looked at Uchiha Qiye like a 2.9 freaks. Uchiha Qiye said, Uchiha Qiye will never do anything to hurt Konoha and the world as Yuan Fei said, please trust me. Fortunately, Yuan Fei died. He felt that his death was great, but the truth was, his death was like a joke. This wave of coercion is unprecedented, not only in ninjutsu, but also in the soul than the average person. It can be called a pervert-level coercion god tier. There was a crowd of people outside, and people couldn't see their heads at a glance, but they were all silent, and they had not recovered from the shock just now. Everyone doesn't know what to say. Uchiha Qiye is just a freak. Ordinary people only have one soul. How can he have two souls? Chapter 401 Yuan Fei helped Uchiha Qiye a big favor. Chapter 401 Yuan Fei helped Uchiha Qiye a big favor. They only know that Hokage is of course the most powerful representative in Konoha village. Yuan Fei is the strongest of the previous generation. Hokage is naturally the strongest. People think that his ninjutsu has reached its peak. But seeing the battle between Uchiha Qiye and Yuan Fei, Uchiha is better in ninjutsu skills, or in the aspect of supernatural soul. Uchiha Qiye is like a freak. He has conquered all the Konoha villagers. After Uchiha Qiye took Nagato and Konan out a few hundred meters, the 14 people gradually woke up. Ding. Pretend point increased by 9,999. Ding. Pretend point increased by 8,888. 99. Ding. Pretend point increased by 7,777. 95. The tide of pretense kept pouring into Uchiha Qiye's heart, and this time the battle against the two Konoha high-level executives was indeed a big win. Only Uchiha Qiye himself knows why there are two souls, but this is his secret. Even his confidants will never tell the truth. After all, everyone knows the truth of guilt. Konan glanced at Uchiha Qiye. Why didn't I know that you have two souls? Or more than one? How did you do it? Uchiha Qiye smiled shyly and said, it's a secret skill, I can't say more. There are so many secrets in the rivers and lakes that can't be said casually. Anyone can understand. Konan and Nagato no longer continue to be curious. Advertisement. Since Uchiha Qiye crossed into this world and occupied the soul of the original man, he has always had two souls, but the original soul has been in a deep sleep and will not wake up at all, so Uchiha Qiye's own soul controls this body. But he is still worried. What if the sleeping soul is not permanently dead and wakes up one day? Will the two souls still fight? Will they still compete for the control of the body? These Uchiha Qiye themselves do not know what the future will be like, but they are still hidden worries in their hearts. But Yuan Fei came up with Shinigami's ninjutsu to steal the soul, which was very new. Uchiha Qiye had never heard of it before, but after knowing the principle, he was overjoyed. Uchiha Qiye's soul forcibly pushed the sleeping soul out of his body, and then was eaten by Shinigami. Then he now has only his own soul left in his body, completely controls his body, and will never have to worry about being taken away in the future. She is in danger. So Uchiha Qiye thanked Yuan Fei very much, but Yuan Fei was already dead, and he couldn't repay at all. There is no other way but to obey Yuan Fei's last wish. That is to protect Konoha from being invaded by other places, and to protect the entire world from being subverted by people with ulterior motives. Uchiha Qiye is serious about this and can definitely help Yuan Fei fulfill his last wish. Sometimes Uchiha Qiye also thinks about a question in his heart: is that sleeping soul really the soul used to destroy the world? Does the fate of reincarnation really exist? If it weren't for Uchiha Qiye's time travel, would this reincarnation continue in the ninja world? He didn't know, and he couldn't know at all, so Uchiha Qiye could only continue to force, inherit the will of fire, and complete the vision of protecting the world and killing Mahong. After thinking about it all, Chapter 402 Andu assault team corpses are scattered in the field. Chapter 402 Andu assault team corpses are scattered in the field. Uchiha Qiye picked up the pace with Nagato and Konan because they had already met. Danzo and Yuan Fei's battle with Uchiha Qiye must be carried out on two fronts. It is absolutely impossible to fight against Uchiha Qiye alone. They will also send a lot of troops to attack the base camp of the Uchiha family. The three people moved at an extremely fast speed, but they came back after a while. As expected by Uchiha Qiye, there were corpses everywhere and rivers of blood, but seeing that everyone in Uchiha's family was cleaning up the corpses, his heart was relieved, and it seemed that the battle was over. After Uchiha Qiye came back, people in the family saw him and shouted, "Elder! Elder, you are back! You are so amazing!" Hearing them praising Uchiha Qiye in succession, he knew that the huge water screen showed the whole battle scene to all the people in Konoha village, so that the people of the Uchiha family also knew what the elders of their own family were doing. Brutal battle. Uchiha Qiye's powerful ninjutsu and pervert soul have been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people for a while, and the family trusts him even more. But when Uchiha Qiye saw the scene where the corpses were scattered all over the place and people were still cleaning up, he asked strangely, "These people should be Andu's people. Are our people injured?" Question mark quote. Because Uchiha Qiye watched for a long time, all of them were Konoha Anbu Danzo subordinates, and there was no body of a Uchiha family member at all. Could it have been buried in advance? Advertisement. One of the servants said, "No one of our Uchiha family died, but they were all killed by Uchiha Rana. She alone defeated 100 people, and we didn't even have a chance to shoot." Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, 100 people, all the people sent by Anbu or Chunin, there will be 2 Jonin, he is clear about these data. Uchiha Lianga actually defeated hundreds of people with one person, and there are 2 Jonin in it. Isn't that a genius? A talented girl who was nearly 15 years old, with such terrifying strength, Uchiha Qiye turned her head to look for Uchiha Lianga's figure, only to see that she was diligently burying the body, reaching a deal with the servants, sweating like rain. She was neither arrogant nor arrogant. Taking credit, this kind of character makes Uchiha Qiye feel very admired. Uchiha Qiye was also curious and immediately agreed to Nagato's request. Take a recording stone from the secret room. Nagato is also very curious. At a young age, he can not only kill a group of Chunin by himself, but also kill 2 Jonin in seconds. With such strength, even the 2 of them may be ashamed. Conan said, "This Uchiha Lianga is too strong. I'm really curious about the battle, nose good scene at that time. Why is this feeling so like the taste of love?" Uchiha Qiye glanced at her, and Uchiha Lianga also looked at him as if they had the same mind, and the 2 smiled at each other very tacitly. Uchiha brought Conan and Nagato back to the office. The elder's bedroom was still very spacious, and Conan and Nagato were sitting in their seats. Nagato said, "We have a record stone in the Uchiha family, how about we take a look?" Uchiha Qiye didn't want to think about this kind of thing, the love between men and women almost didn't exist in his mind. Chapter 403 Shocked. Uchiha Rana's Genius Swordsmanship. Chapter 403 Shocked. Uchiha Rana's Genius Swordsmanship. This mysterious stone records everything that happens in the family. As long as it happens in the family, everything can be recorded. This is top secret. Only Uchiha Qiye and Conan and Nagato know about it. No one else knows, because it means that everyone has no privacy and will cause panic among people. But under normal conditions, it is impossible for Uchiha Qiye to take it out. He will only check it during special events. Only the Great Elder has this authority, and others 903 do not have it at all. After taking out this recording stone, Uchiha Qiye glanced curiously, because this was the first time he had seen it. There was a vivid blood wheel-eye on this stone, blinking, and the blood-red chakra breath was lingering on it. Kept spinning in the eyes, lingering around. This blood wheel-eye seems to have its own spirituality, and it is only willing to show its own function when it is found that the Elder is indeed holding it out. After blinking a few times, the blood wheel in the record stone finally faithfully restored everything that happened in the family. I saw that Uchiha Qiye had just left his forefoot, and the moment he had just started the battle with Danzo, hundreds of Anbu ninjas under Danzo rushed over in a mighty manner. The leaders were indeed two Jonin, who broke into the door directly, the samurai swords in their hands refracted with a terrifying luster under the sunlight. Because Uchiha Qiye had already explained that a group of people would come to sneak attack on the Uchiha family, so Uchiha Lianga, who was the defensive backing, also mobilized and made preparations. Advertisement. But the girly Uchiha Lianga didn't set any traps and formations at all. She likes hard steel on the front and likes an upright battle. As long as Uchiha Lianga is killed, the power of the Uchiha family will be completely disintegrated. The two leading Jonin are very short-tempered, they are all middle-aged, and have absolute confidence in their own abilities. They have studied the fighting strength of all the members of the Uchiha family, and know that this woman is the most powerful Uchiha Lianga, and they are also the target they want to kill in the end, because she has become Uchiha Qiye's right-hand man. When Uchiha Lianga saw a large group of people breaking in, she directly stood, BECJ, in front of the group with the meteor sword that Uchiha Qiye gave her. So as soon as they saw this woman, they all thought that it was easy to get it, but when they saw this momentum, they seemed to be thinking, did the Uchiha family already expect it? Uchiha Lianga's eyes are cold, and the whole person is filled with murderous aura, and the coldness of the light exudes a chilling power in her aura. Once Uchiha Qiye died in the duel, it was no accident that Uchiha Lianga succeeded as the chief elder. At that time, the Uchiha family still had soul figures, and they would not completely die. The meteor sword in Uchiha Rana's hand pointed at the group of ninjas, and she said, I thought what a powerful person, but they are just a group of stinky fish and rotten shrimp. 35. When Uchiha Qiye heard this, he saw that this aura was simply his female version of the character, and his pretentious temperament and pretentious words were really passed down by him. They were so similar that they were carved out of a mold. Chapter 404 Class Ninjutsu Meteor Swordsmanship. Chapter 404 Class Ninjutsu Meteor Swordsmanship. They were actually humiliated by a yellow-haired girl who was only 15 years old, so the two rushed up. In between, the meteor sword in Uchiha Lianga's hand exuded a cold edge, and it directly killed the heads of the two people at the speed of lightning. After searching twice, the two Jonins became Uchi, Polana's dead souls in the blink of an eye. The remaining hundreds of Chunins were all shocked. The two teachers were also masters in the ninja world. How could they have been killed with the same efficiency as two children with one knife? So they rushed over with roaring rage, and other Uchiha family members had to take advantage of the situation, so Uchiha Lianga couldn't be alone against hundreds of people. But Uchiha Rana ordered everyone to retreat, so the Uchiha family had to obey her order and stopped. Who knows, it turned out that such a group of people stepped into the formation that Uchiha Lianga had designed a long time ago. When all the hundreds of people entered the formation, Uchiha Lianga's eyes lit up, 7-star ray sword. This sound made Uchiha Qiye utterly bewildered. He really knew that this sword had its own powerful skills. Knowing that there is a unique move, the 7-star light sword, this is a skill that belongs to the meteor sword. Without this sword, it is impossible to use this move. In theory, Kixing Guangzhan belongs to S-rank ninjutsu, which is the highest end skill in swordsmanship. Advertisement. I saw a sudden ray of light on the meteor sword. It was a dazzling brilliance that belonged to the stars alone. It was linked with the stars in the sky. Through the resonance of the formation, the 7 stars suddenly rose in the eyes of the formation, shining in 7 directions respectively. Way. And Uchiha Rana seemed to be a shooting star, shuttled back and forth among the hundreds of people, only to see the hundreds of Chunin roaring fiercely like beasts. Arms, legs, and other human body parts were thrown out of the air by the 7-star ray sword's quick beheading. At this time, Uchiha Lianga turned into a sword, and the sword and the person were completely integrated, and shuttled back and forth among the hundreds of people at the speed of a meteor chasing the moon. And some Chunin wanted to run away after being seriously injured, because they knew that they would definitely be no match, but under the 7-star formation, they just touched the edge of the formation and were immediately bounced back, becoming Uchiha Lianga's fish on the plate. For flowers. 0. From the beginning to the end, starting from the time of entering the door, but after about 10 minutes, Uchiha Rana brutally slaughtered hundreds of Anbu ninjas with one person. Uchiha Qiye, Konan and Nagato were all stunned. The Uchiha family has always been famous for their bloody eyes, and no one is so good at using swordsmanship. Not bad penultimate, not bad. As if possessed by a killing god, the mass of people who were killed was overflowing with flesh and blood, and their bones were flying, and they became a living hell on earth. In just a few minutes, these Chunins were all beheaded by Uchiha Lianga, and they became corpses that fell to the ground one after another. At the beginning, Uchiha Qiye thought Uchiha Lianga was a craftable material, and gave her a symbolic meteor sword weapon for encouragement. Who would have thought that Uchiha Lianga would be such a grandmaster swordsman, and learned a set of S-rank ninjutsu for this sword? Sword Soil. Chapter 405 Naruto's Turning the Tide Band the Split. Chapter 405 Naruto's Turning the Tide Band the Split. It would be an understatement to say she is a genius. After killing the hundreds of Anbu ninjas, the people of the Uchiha family saw Uchiha Qiye fighting with the 2 upper layers of Konoha on the water screen. Still seeing the blood of the entire Uchiha family, they also knew that the elders of the Uchiha family were actually terrifying to such a level. 903 was especially ashamed of Minato, the one who used to be jealous and even hated Uchiha Qiye to replace him as an elder. Now, looking at him, he is nothing at all, not even a single finger of Uchiha Qiye. In the end, everyone thought that Uchiha Qiye died under Shinigami's hands, but they were surprised to find that Uchiha Qiye had two souls, and the whole Uchiha family was boiling. From now on, it will be a sign that the Uchiha family will hold their heads high in Konoha, and they will no longer need to maintain stability, and they will no longer need to look at Konoha's upper-level complexion to live. Only with strength can you stand upright. On this day, it will definitely be recorded in the annals of history and become a permanent circulation. After reading all the records, the blood wheel eyes in the spiritual record stone slowly closed his eyes. Uchiha Qiye put the recording stone in the secret room, and when he came out, he saw Nagato and Konan, both of whom looked like they didn't know what to do. Uchiha Qiye said, "What's the matter, are you still in the memory?" Advertisement. Konan nodded, still unable to recall the genius of Uchiha Rana's swordsmanship that day, it was simply incomparably powerful. Konan said, "Uchiha Rana's swordsmanship is too strong, I feel that she was born for kendo." Uchiha Qiye really thinks so, and the meteor sword is just a famous A-level sword, which is very different from those S-level weapons and even Super S artifacts. Uchiha is a talented person, if Uchiha Lianga has such a high talent, he is even willing to help her find more powerful weapons. And as far as kendo is concerned, although Uchiha Qiye is also a grandmaster, she doesn't focus on it, but Uchiha Lianga is different. She seems to be Ishin's person who studies kendo and doesn't have much demand for ninjutsu. Uchiha Qiye said, "I need to find more powerful kendo skills, and better weapons, and give her better things when she is more advanced, which can also be used as encouragement." 35. Nagato nodded and said, "Yes, Uchiha Ryona is now Jonin or above in terms of her talent, but in her own case, she has only developed a small part of her talent. I believe that her spirituality is definitely more than that, and there will be greater development in the future." Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, maybe Rana's future cultivation will be higher than that of Nagato and Konan, and she should really focus on training. If you go anywhere in the future, you can consider taking her with you. 2.9 At this time, because the Uchiha family has done such an earth-shattering thing, a celebration party needs to be held. But I actually heard a bigger movement in Konoha. Because Naruto, who didn't play the whole time, was doing something that had to be supported by everyone. Standing on the top floor of Konoha village, Naruto said, "You must stop the unrest and never take revenge on the Uchiha family." Chapter 406 Rioting Crowd. The Uchiha clan in distress. Chapter 406 Rioting Crowd. The Uchiha clan in distress. Naruto's figure stood on the top floor of the village and saw the rioting crowd. Because Yuan Fei, as the previous generation of Hokage, had accumulated too much public base and popularity, everyone could not accept the fact that Yuan Fei had died for a while. Although this is a duel, it doesn't matter if Danzo is dead, but Yuan Fei, as the spiritual pillar of Konoha village, must not be killed by the Uchiha clan just like that. The 14 ninjas below gathered together, and Uchiha must come out and die. As soon as Uchiha Qiye saw this situation, he immediately flew over several times, and before he reached the place, Naruto flew down from the top of the building. As soon as he got down, all the ninjas around gave up their seats and said to Naruto, "What our old Hokage said must be right, the Uchiha family will become a rebellious group sooner or later, and we must not sit still." Naruto shook his head, "If Yuan Fei can survive, do you still want to seek revenge from the Uchiha clan?" At this time, Uchiha Qiye was already on his way. Along with Uchiha Qiye, Konan and Nagato came together, and they rushed over as quickly as possible. As soon as the crowd heard what Naruto said, they all looked at me and I looked at you, not knowing what to say, because Yuan Fei is already dead, how can people be resurrected from the dead? So a Jonin ran out and said, "If Yuan Fei can really be resurrected, then this matter is over, but people can't be resurrected, Naruto, don't talk nonsense." Advertisement. The conversations of these people have all been heard by Uchiha Qiye, and people have thoughts in their hearts, that is, Naruto's leadership is really weak, and the whole village is rioting like this, and he, as Hokage, can't show any control. Naruto sighed and said, "Yuan Fei is not dead either." Everyone was a little astonished. Yuan Feiming had already taken away his soul by Shinigami, how could he not die? This is something that no one can understand. The three of Uchiha Qiye have already come to the place where the crowd gathered. At a glance, they can see the crowd. If these people rushed to the Uchiha family together, the consequences would be unimaginable. Uchiha Qiye thought coldly in his heart, if this is the case, he doesn't mind opening the eyes of eternity directly plunge this group of people into an eternal fantasy. But he didn't want to do it, and if he did, would his behavior be any different from Mahong? Looking closely at the situation here, Naruto said that Yuan Fei was not dead. What happened? Yuan Fei clearly died under everyone's attention. How could he not die? Naruto said, "The reason why I didn't show up in this battle is because I expected Yuan Fei and Uchiha Qiye to die together as early as 920, so I have long since sealed Yuan Fei's original god, and he can be resurrected as long as he starts it again. Everyone doesn't know about this at all, how could there be such a ninjutsu, unless it is the forbidden technique in ninjutsu, this technique is generally not known to outsiders, even Uchiha Qiye doesn't know about it at all." Naruto nodded, and with a random move, several confidants, Jonin, summoned Yuan Fei's original god, which was a huge coffin. With a bang, he stood in the center of the arena, with many incomprehensible incantations engraved on the coffin. Chapter 407 Shinigami can have a contract, so can an angel. Chapter 407 Shinigami can have a contract, so can an angel. It seems that some mysterious energy is radiating. Naruto said, in this coffin is Yuan Fei, only his soul was taken away by Shinigami, but the original god is here, and we can still summon Yuan Fei's soul back. As soon as the words fell, Naruto opened the coffin. Yuan Fei's body was lying in the coffin, but it looked strange. People have been dead for so long, and they looked as fresh as ever. Those wounds chopped by Uchiha Qiye healed unknowingly, which is something only a living person can do. In other words, at this time, Yuan Fei, the cells were still dividing, and the damaged tissues were repaired by cell division, which was obviously only possible with living cells. It seems that Yuan Fei is really not completely dead, but now he is closing his eyes and can't move, but this lifelike appearance seems to have never died, just sleeping and will be able to wake up soon. Due to the presence of Uchiha Qiye, the crowd felt hatred when they saw Uchiha Qiye, but Naruto guaranteed that Yuan Fei could be resurrected, and people didn't want to leave for the time being. The leader was a Jonin who said to Naruto, if Yuan Fei can really be resurrected, we really won't be embarrassed by the Uchiha family. Quote. Naruto nodded and said, very good. At this time, Naruto is communicating with Nine Tails in his body, and Nine Tails has seen through all the sophistication here in his body, and sighed, hey, it's another human sorrow and joy, as an ancient tailed beast, I actually want to these things are really disturbing. Advertisement. Naruto communicated with Nine Tails in his heart, there's no way, I'm already thinking about resigning from Hokage, maybe I'm really only suitable to be a Jonin, not a Hokage, give me strength. 55. Nine Tails obeyed Naruto after all, and all the chakra on his body was transmitted to Naruto at once. At this time, Naruto was turning into Nine Tails, and the huge chakra suddenly increased sharply. Even Uchiha Qiye was extremely shocked by such a powerful force, and unconsciously stepped back a few steps. Who is glowing, and what is that strong light source? A divine light shone out in the sky, caressing Yuan Fei's corpse, and in this divine light, a figure was shining brightly. Naruto's chakra aura can be said to crush everyone. In terms of chakra volume and recovery ability, no one present is his opponent, including Uchiha Qiye. Blood wheel eyes, open. Uchiha Qiye was directly shocked. Yuan Fei, the dead old man, signed a contract with Shinigami, while Naruto actually summoned the angel to a contract. How can the Hokages of Konoha village promised be fiercer than each other? Naruto's body seemed to be burning fiercely with a strong golden flame, and his whole body was immersed in the power of Nine Tails, because without such power, the resurrection spell could not be activated at all. Uchiha Qiye felt that he couldn't open his eyes in this strong and dazzling brilliance, and mortal eyes couldn't completely touch the whole truth. Although Uchiha Qiye knew that Naruto was strong, he didn't expect that he would be so strong. If he wanted to fight against Naruto, he really couldn't tell who would live and who would die. A quick nod in Naruto's hand, summoning. Resurrection Angel. Chapter 408 Yuan Fei Hiruzen's resurrection stuns the world. Chapter 408 Yuan Fei Hiruzen's resurrection stuns the world. Eternal Mangekyo opened his eyes and saw through all the delusions of this world. Uchiha Qiye directly saw an extremely beautiful and dignified angel exuding divine light in the sky. Those who were illuminated by this light were naturally filled with peace and quiet. Peaceful. The people around them, who were still extremely violent, suddenly calmed their minds inexplicably. It seemed that the scramble and chaos had nothing to do with them, and a very calm feeling made them stop. Naruto said, please resurrect Yuan Fei. There is a golden 920 energy in the angel's hand. It looks extremely pure, and it contains the energy and secrets of heaven and earth. Although Uchiha Qiye's Mangekyo blood wheel eyes can clearly see it, he does not understand what such a powerful energy is. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth can't compare with this energy. He doesn't know the name, but he sees energy that is more powerful and pure than the 5 elements in the world. At this moment, Uchiha Qiye was inspired and even crazily yearned for this power. He believed that this power came from heaven and earth and was the greatest power. The golden holy light in the angel's hand, BECJ, suddenly enveloped Yuan Fei's body, and the soft holy light contained unspeakable power. Suddenly, countless people who couldn't see clearly appeared in the sky. All of them were watching Yuan Fei, and they were murmuring, as if they were singing some songs, and the energy contained in these songs was also awakening Yuan Fei who was sleeping. All of this is so sacred and it makes people feel enlightened both physically and mentally. Uchiha Qiye has already seen a lot of things. He doesn't know which technique belongs to which school, and he can't tell the difference between Shinigami and angels. In which of the 6 paths? Divine energy is constantly irrigating Yuan Fei, washing his limbs and bones, and his internal organs are also quickly recovering in the divine light. Advertisement. However, after a few seconds, it was completely restored to its original state, and Uchiha Qiye was stunned by this scene. In the end, Yuan Fei slowly opened his eyes, and when he saw that he was bathed in divine light, he felt a little astonished, not knowing what happened. Yes, even Yuan Fei himself thought he was dead, but he was resurrected so inexplicably. The divine light gradually subsided, the golden light gradually faded away, and the crowd singing among the clouds on the horizon also disappeared. In the end, the divine light completely disappeared. Yuan Fei also sat up from the coffin, and looked at the people around him with some confusion. My god, is the legend that people can't be resurrected from the dead a fake? Yuan Fei actually came back to life. 5. Yuan Fei came out of the coffin and looked at everyone for unknown reasons. Naruto glanced at Yuan Fei and finally sat down on the ground, because he had no strength at all and looked extremely weak. It's all thanks to Naruto, it's Yuan Fei who Naruto helped. He even thought that he was in the kingdom of heaven, but how could someone whose soul follows Shinigami be in the kingdom of heaven? Then he would obviously go to hell. And all of this, Naruto spent a lot of chakra in it to be able to do it. Seeing that Yuan Fei has been resurrected, Naruto's exhausted power finally got a rest. Someone in the crowd said, "Resurrection, really resurrected." Chapter 409 is Yuan Fei's succession to Hokage a blessing or a curse? Chapter 409 is Yuan Fei's succession to Hokage a blessing or a curse? Only then did I know that Naruto used the forbidden technique to pull Yuan Fei back from Shinigami's side. Yuan Fei looked at Naruto in amazement. He said in front of everyone, "Naruto, do you know that performing the forbidden technique will consume the chakra of your whole body, and your cultivation base will directly become an ordinary person?" 35. People only understood what was going on when they heard the truth. It turned out that Naruto had paid so much hardship and effort, and the price was so great. He gave up all the chakra he had cultivated for so many years, and became an ordinary person. Ordinary people who are inferior to even genin. Only then did they understand that Naruto had paid such a huge and painful price for Yuan Fei, but it was reasonable to think about it, because resurrecting a person always had to pay a very high price. Naruto nodded and said, "Of course I know, but in order to quell the war and prevent civil unrest, I am willing to pay such a price." Only then did Uchiha Qiye know Naruto's good intentions. It turned out that Naruto had already predicted all this and knew that Yuan Fei was definitely not Uchiha Qiye's opponent, so he did not appear for a long time, just to wait for the moment of civil unrest. At this time, Uchiha Qiye walked out and said to everyone, "Our Uchiha family has no intention of rebelling, and please don't speculate on me in the future." Because people have seen the miracle, Naruto paid so much and resurrected their beloved Yuan Fei, so naturally they don't want to pursue the Uchiha family anymore. At this time, Yuan Fei also understood what was going on. Although he still didn't understand why Uchiha Qiye was still alive after his soul was taken away, he was defeated after all. That defeat is defeat, there is nothing to say. Advertisement. Yuan Fei looked at Uchiha Qiye and said, "Maybe this is God's will. Taking away your soul is to destroy the soul of the entire ninja world, but you still have a soul, you should be able to stop the reincarnation of fate." Yuan Fei continued, "On behalf of the Council of Konoha Village, I have officially lifted the guard against the Uchiha family, and hope that we can live in harmony in the future." Naruto continued, "Now I don't have any strength and can't take on the task of protecting the village. This Hokage's position should have been down, and since I took over as Hokage, my decision-making power is indeed not as good as the previous Hokage. Now that Yuan Fei is resurrected, I hope Yuan Fei can be reinstated." Uchiha Qiye saw that this was already an internal matter of Konoha village, they were inconvenient to participate, so they wanted to leave the ground. At this time, Naruto had lost the slightest strength. After recovering for a while, Naruto stood up and said, "I announce my retirement as Hokage, and let Yuan Fei become the Hokage of our Konoha village. 39. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Even Yuan Fei never expected this to happen, because he has already retired, and the restoration of Hokage's identity has never been seen in history. The restless crowd also changed their minds towards the Uchiha clan. Letting go of those grievances, and resurrected from the dead, there is really nothing to pursue. After getting this answer that satisfied everyone, Uchiha Qiye naturally didn't want to say anything, so he nodded. In fact, this is also what the people want, and people are more supportive of this person who is willing to sacrifice himself for the benefit of the village and even the entire ninja world. Chapter 410 Hatake Tsukumo's injustice makes Uchiha Qiye angry. Chapter 410 Hatake Tsukumo's injustice makes Uchiha Qiye angry. Yuan Fei has successfully become Hokage, and Naruto has since returned to recover from his injuries. After returning home, Uchiha Qiye felt a little sad. This Naruto paid so much, and in the end it became like this, Yuan Fei became Hokage instead. The Uchiha family has returned to their former serenity, but they always feel that Naruto has lost too much, and in the end of September 20th, he could not get anything. Uchiha Qiye, who was lying in his office, felt a little injustice towards Naruto, so he glanced at Nagato and Konan next to him, and said to them, "I think if Yuan Fei takes office, it may cause more danger to our Uchiha family." In fact, this is what Nagato and Konan are worried about, because Yuan Fei has always regarded the Uchiha family as a thorn in the flesh, and knowing that Uchiha Qiye is so powerful, it is even more difficult to sleep and eat. Because the reason is very simple, one mountain cannot tolerate two tigers, so the ninjutsu of the Bian family is also very powerful, but after all, it is not as strong as Yuan Fei, so the Bian family has always been sought after and enjoyed the glory in Konoha village. The Uchiha family has always given people a feeling of a gray area, which can make the village to be a pioneer in times of crisis and sell their lives to death, but when it is the turn of honor, there is rarely anything about the Uchiha family. Konan said, "As you said, after Yuan Fei came to power, he first needed to recharge his batteries and learn more about the situation of the Uchiha family, and then continue to attack the Uchiha family. It has been a week since Sarutobi Hiruzen regained his position as Hokage, while Naruto kept a low profile. So Uchiha Qiye acted on his own, and a few flew to the gate of the prison. A Chunin saw that it was Uchiha Qiye, the chief elder of the Uchiha family, but stopped at the gate anyway. Hatake Tsukumo gave up a mission for the sake of his companions and his own fetters. Nagato also sees it this way. Konoha village invested too much fighting power and sacrificed resources for the Uchiha family, but they were all wiped out by the Uchiha family, they will definitely not give up. It was Conan who told Uchiha Qiye, and Uchiha Qiye thought Yuan Fei Hiruzen was simply inhuman after hearing the whole story. At this time, Uchiha Qiye was in the middle of meditation. There was no concept of time and space in this state. He saw that the 8 meridians in his body were recovering at an amazing speed. After all, that battle made everyone more or less injuries. Suddenly there was news that Hitaki Sakumo of Konoha village gave up his mission, but he gave up the interests of the country in order to save his friends, and was being held in prison by Hokage. So he came to his senses and said to them, "No, I'm going to see Hitaki Sakumo, and I have to comfort him." 35. Uchiha Qiye naturally understands these truths in his heart. It seems that he really has to move the old man Yuan Fei down and let someone who was friendly to him succeed him. Chapter 411 Never Accept It. The Inhumane Hokage Lineage. Chapter 411 Never Accept It. The Inhumane Hokage Lineage. The Uchiha family. What are you doing at the gate of the prison? A mere Chunin has such a big opinion about the Uchiha family. Uchiha Qiye said, "Come and see Hitaki Sakumo." Chunin frowned. No, he has been imprisoned in heavenly prison by Hokage, and no one can visit him. Uchiha Qiye sneered. This Yuan Fei Hiruzen was indiscriminate, and he actually put people into heavenly prison just like that. He had no humanity at all. Uchiha Qiye said, "What if I have to go in?" Before waiting for Chunin, who was the gatekeeper, to answer, he immediately jumped in a flash. He didn't want to embarrass Chunin, who was the gatekeeper. He just stared at Chunin's acupuncture point the moment he entered, making him unable to move. Entering the prison, at a glance at the pitch-dark area, only a few torches were lit, which looked a little bright, but shadowy. The prisoners here are all murderers, robbers, and ordinary criminals who are petty and thirsty. There is some fishy smell, which always gives people a very bad feeling. Uchiha Qiye knew that this floor must be detaining some ordinary mortals, and the deeper he went down, the deeper the crime he committed. Seeing a row of stairs, Uchiha Qiye walked down, the first floor, the second floor, the third floor, until the third floor, where the war criminals of various countries were still without Hitaki Sakumo. Could it be on the last floor? So Uchiha Qiye continued, and when he reached the last floor, he finally saw a huge heavenly prison, a person standing on a wooden shelf, with only a few pieces of clothes covering his body, but it also looked tattered. Advertisement. The entire lower leg is immersed in cold water, and the punishment for this treatment is extremely severe. Uchiha Qiye walked over, intuition that this person is Hitaki Sakumo. His hair is disheveled, there are some scars on his face, and there are marks of being beaten by a whip, bloodline Madara. Uchiha Qiye looked at the dying man and said, "Are you Hitaki Sakumo?" Only then did Hitaki Sakumo slowly open his eyes, and the scrawny mouth flicked a few times before he spoke. Hitaki Sakumo took a serious look at Uchiha Qiye. Who else, of course, is Yuan Fei Hiruzen, who beat me to heavenly prison for treason and will be executed on another day. Uchiha Qiye sighed and said, "I am Uchiha Qiye, the new chief elder of the Uchiha clan. I heard about you and wanted to come and see you." Hearing such news, Uchiha Qiye was a little annoyed. He just gave up his mission to save his companions, so why was he sentenced to death? Is there any humanity in the Hokage lineage at the end of 920? Yes, who are you? Uchiha Qiye was very angry. He sentenced Hitaki Sakumo to such a big crime for giving up his mission in order to save his companions. Is this person crazy? Hitaki Sakumo smiled slightly, and it was precisely because the smile affected the wound on his face. He twitched and said, "Let's go, I will be executed in a few days, don't come to see me again." No, Uchiha Qiye couldn't accept it at all. Uchiha Qiye said, "Who sentenced you to death?" If Uchiha Qiye remembers correctly, Hitaki Sakumo's strength is very strong, even stronger than Yuan Fei's strength, and his previous military exploits are also very prominent. How can he be sentenced to death because of this? Chapter 412 What is Hokage's Will? Chapter 412 What is Hokage's Will? Uchiha Qiye has always been a man who has a heart for the whole world and works hard for the whole ninja world, so he doesn't care about small things, but if such a ruthless Hokage lineage comes out of Konoha, he must take care of it. The main reason is that he doesn't like Yuan Fei's Hiruzen, and he seriously suspects that Yuan Fei is jealous of Hitaki Sakumo's talent and wants to find an excuse to get rid of him. Uchiha Qiye said, "Hitaki Sakumo, although we don't have much friendship on weekdays, I will help you with this matter." Hitaki Sakumo raised his head with difficulty, his face was blue and purple, it looked like he had suffered a lot of damage, and his breath was very weak. How could this torture be used by a hero because his feet were soaked in cold water? When Hitaki Sakumo heard Uchiha Qiye say this, he felt very strange and glanced at Uchiha Qiye. Seeing this man's extremely serious eyes, Hitaki Sakumo said, "Don't go, Kun is no joke, since Hokage has already gone. If you are determined, then you can't change the order. Pipe. Uchiha Qiye was almost killed by Hitaki Sakumo's pedantic attitude. People were about to kill him. Hitaki Sakumo was still thinking about that butcher, which is simply ignorant. Uchiha Qiye said, "Your style is completely in line with Hokage's will. For the sake of your companions and the fetters in your heart, you gave up your mission. What's wrong with this? There must be ulterior motives to kill you." Hitaki Sakumo's mood at this time, of course, hoped that he would be rescued, but if he violated the punishment, even if he had a big reason and grievance, he should be sentenced to death. So Hitaki Sakumo shook his head. "Don't fight for me, Yuan Fei Hiruzen as Hokage. Naturally the first consideration is for the whole village. If they are all women like me, then the ninjas in the future will commit the same wrong, whether or not Hokage will be executed, my heart is dead, let me die. 5. Hearing his pedantic remarks, Uchiha Qiye said angrily, remember, Hokages should always put fetters first, not cold interests and tasks. I must save your life. After he finished speaking, Uchiha Qiye made seals on his hands, turning all the cold water under his feet into warm water. Such blood vessels can gradually wake up without being discovered by the prison guards. Hitaki Tsukumo saw Uchiha Qiye's firm eyes and sonorous words, and felt that his heart was greatly shaken. Hokages will, indeed, as Uchiha Qiye said, those cold interests and the confrontation between countries do not know why has it become a dull dark cloud, pressing on everyone's heart. Feeling a little warm current from his completely numb feet, his heart also warmed a little. This time Hitaki Tsukumo didn't stop Uchi's Nualize Wave Qiye, in fact he couldn't stop it at all, so let's go with him. Uchiha Qiye walked out of the prison by himself, and when he saw the guard who was still immobilized, he directly untied his acupuncture point. Chunin wanted to attack Uchiha Qiye, and the latter opened his eyes and let him enter the environment. He was expected to wake up after a while and forget what happened before. This ability can only be used against opponents who are far from their own strength. Chapter 413, The Uchiha Family Don't Mess with Hokage. Chapter 413, The Uchiha Family Don't Mess with Hokage. But also very useful. After walking out from here, Uchiha Qiye went straight to the Hokage office, shuttled through the crowd, felt the warmth of the sun pouring down on him, a heat flow rose from the bottom of his heart, and the will of fire should be thoroughly implemented. Uchiha Qiye thought that Naruto had gone too hastily. If he was still there, then Uchiha Qiye would definitely heal him and support him to succeed Hokage. Only Konoha where Naruto is in has a real Hokage appearance, and Yuan Fei, who was wily and restored Hokage's position, didn't give 920 any humility at all. Seeing the crowd's intentions and wanting to support him, he really succeeded. Uchiha Qiye, who was full of anger in his heart, just came to the interior of Hokage, and a Jonin stopped him. Although they have no resentment against Uchiha Qiye, after all, the Uchiha family should not trespass into the interior of Hokage without an invitation. Uchiha Qiye said to the guard with a silent expression, get out of the way. Of course Jonin knew how strong Uchiha Qiye was, but he still intercepted it and said to him, I'm sorry, this is my duty, you can't enter Hokage's office without Hokage's invitation. On this day, Uchiha Qiye was already full of anger, and slammed a punch directly on Jonin's face. The latter flew out, fell to the ground and fainted. The movement here attracted a lot of people to gather around, and Jonin on the third floor and the third floor surrounded Uchiha Qiye. Advertisement. However, Uchiha Qiye was not afraid of these shrimp soldiers and crab generals at all. Just when these people were about to start together, Yuan Fei suddenly came out of Hokage's office and waved his hand after seeing Uchiha Qiye. You don't have to stop him, let him in. With Yuan Fei Hiruzen's words, these talents stopped the movements in their hands and made way out one after another. Yuan Fei Hiruzen saw Uchiha Qiye's unsightly face and asked, what's the matter, why are you so angry? Yuan Fei Hiruzen sat in Hokage's seat, still smoking his pipe, the Hokage hat on his head covered his eyes, flickering on and off. Yuan Fei Hiruzen said, Uchiha Qiye, you are a member of the Uchiha family, you shouldn't come here to tell us about the internal affairs of our Hokage. 9. Uchiha Qiye's face is very bad, this is Konoha, if it were somewhere else, it would have killed a bloody path regardless of Sanchi 21. Yuan Fei Hiruzen frowned deeply, and he was very unhappy with what he said in front of him. He really lost to Uchiha Qiye, which is already exposing his old scars, and the words behind Uchiha Qiye are interfering with Hokage rule. Uchiha Qiye sneered, is this your Yuan Fei's demeanor? As a Hokage, he actually divides the entire Konoha into 3, 6 and 9, and cuts each other. Our Uchiha family is also a member of Konoha. Have a say in anything. Uchiha Qiye walked in front of him and said to Yuan Fei Hiruzen, Yuan Fei, are your old bones itching again? Even Hitaki Tsukumo is going to be chopped off, why do you want to kill such a hero? Quote. Yuan Fei Hiruzen's face became more and more serious, and it seemed that he was really d off by Uchiha Qiye. He walked in and slammed the door shut. Advertisement Chapter 414 Let me teach you what the true will of fire is. Chapter 414 Let me teach you what the true will of fire is. Yuan Fei let out a heavy breath of smoke, and his fingers were rhythmically tapping on the table. He said, Uchiha Qiye, don't think that you can go wild with me if you win by chance. If you fight again, you may not be me, opponent. The tone of the two people's words became more and more heavy, and Uchiha Qiye thought that it was just right. If he could kill Yuan Fei in an upright manner, it would be really good, and he was afraid that the old man would not give him this chance. Seeing that Uchiha Qiye did not speak, Yuan Fei continued, Hitaki Tsukumo is guilty of treason, he gave up the mission because of his own selfishness, and brought us Konoha a lot of losses and unpredictable future. Sabotage. I didn't need to explain anything to you, but since you asked, I'll tell you. Hitaki Tsukumo's behavior will bring more unpredictable losses. If his behavior will be forgiven and preferentially treated, then more and more people will give up their missions and tasks because of personal love. Yuan Fei's words were full of brilliance and arrogance, and it sounded a little righteous. At this time, Uchiha Qiye shook his head and said, Hitaki Tsukumo has only lost some benefits, which can be replenished in the future, but if Konoha kills Hitaki Tsukumo because of this, Konoha will lose Hokage's will. 35. In fact, at this time, many Jonins were guarding outside because they were afraid that Yuan Fei would encounter a surprise attack by Uchiha Qiye. About dozens of Jonins were waiting, and the conversation between them could be heard clearly. Hokage's will, the word actually made these Jonins' hearts tremble. What exactly is Hokage's will? Those of them who are among the leaves and around Hokage seem to have forgotten. The word is both familiar and unfamiliar, and they can't remember the deeper meaning for a while. Yuan Fei's serious face was so gloomy that water seemed to drip, and he asked, I am Hokage, and my will is Hokage's will. Obviously, Yuan Fei's interpretation is too tyrannical and private. If Hokage's will is Yuan Fei's will, then the entire Konoha is serving him alone. Uchiha Qiye said, No, Yuan Fei, you are old, and you are wrong. The real Hokage's will is that the whole Konoha unite Isshin, regard the life of his friends as his own, and regard the safety of the village as his own safety, put your bond above your own life. Would rather sacrifice everything to protect the people you hold dear, this is the true will of Hokage. 39. As Uchiha Qiye spoke, he pointed at Yuan Fei and shouted angrily, Not your own will, Yuan Fei Hiruzen. After some words, Yuan Fei Hiruzen, who was already angry, couldn't hold back any longer. He suddenly stood up and slapped the table hard, his face flushed with anger. He roared angrily, Shut up. You shady reptile of the Uchiha family, you don't deserve to come to my Hokage's office to accuse me. The words of Uchiha Qiye have dealt a heavy blow to Yuan Fei's tyranny, and were heavily imprinted on the dozens of Jonin who had been eavesdropping outside the house. These various techniques of Jonin Grandmaster, some of which are still high-level Anbu, they can be said to be the absolute backbone and core strength of Konoha. Chapter 415 Where the Sword Points, What the Heart Wants. Chapter 415 Where the Sword Points, What the Heart Wants. When I heard Uchiha Qiye's interpretation of Hokage's will, my heart suddenly became enlightened, and some kind of spiritual will that had been completely forgotten, even numb, was beaten fiercely, shaking their heartstrings, and it couldn't be slowed down for a long time. God comes. After hearing Yuan Fei Hiruzen's interpretation of Hokage's will, it was simply his personal tyranny. His selfishness inflated, occupying the entire Konoha of 920 as his base, letting everyone in Konoha become his pawn, his tool, a puppet for his ambition and revenge. Those fresh, vivid and exciting wills of fire were all lost under the leadership of Yuan Fei. Uchiha Qiye sneered and said, Yuan Fei Hiruzen, Hitaki Tsukumo must not be killed. If you insist on killing, then I will save him on behalf of Hokage's will. Remember, when you sit in Hokage's seat, representing today's Konoha, Hokage is dead. After he finished speaking, no matter how resentful and irritable Yuan Fei Hiruzen was, he didn't dare to do anything casually, because he knew how strong Uchiha Qiye was. Uchiha Qiye turned around and left after finishing the harsh words, without taking a cloud with him. When they pushed out the door, there were still dozens of Jonin standing outside the door. After seeing Uchiha Qiye again in their eyes, they already showed admiration and praise, and felt that the elders in the Uchiha family were not as dark and cold as they thought. Instead, they are passionate, regard friendship as their life, regard the village as their responsibility, and reawaken their Hokage will. So when they see Uchiha Qiye again, their inner attitude is recognition and approval, and when one person shows liking to another person, the atmosphere is very different. Advertisement. Uchiha Qiye just came out and saw dozens of Jonin surrounding him again. At first he thought he was going to embarrass him again, but the next second he saw them all salute him uniformly. After going out from here, Uchiha Qiye has already realized a very serious problem. Although Yuan Fei as Hokage has brought benefits to Konoha's development, but the real will of Hokage has completely dissipated. This is the inheritance and expression of the will of fire. Uchiha Qiye has grown to appreciate Hitaki Tsukumo, and in terms of strength. And now, people's hearts have already turned to Uchiha Qiye. Walking 2.9, Uchiha Qiye suddenly thought of a person, and this person happened to be Hitaki Tsukumo, because this person gave up short-term interests for the sake of fetters and feelings, and was willing to give up his life for the development of the village and fetters. The will of fire must be carried forward, and the will of fire must be inherited, which is what the people want. This salute is a lofty greeting unique to Konoha. Uchiha Qiye immediately understood, and these people fully agreed with his words. So in return Uchiha Qiye also saluted them to express their friendly reconciliation. As he walked, he thought, in order to carry forward and inherit the will of fire, Uchiha Qiye must find ways to push Yuan Fei Hiruzen out, and replace a new one who really has the will of fire to become the true leader of Konoha village. If Yuan Fei is allowed to continue to do this, Konoha will turn from a superpower country to an ordinary, selfish, second and third-rate small country. Chapter 416. Those who have the Tao help more, those who lose the Tao have little help. Chapter 416. Those who have the Tao help more, those who lose the Tao have little help. Hitaki Tsukumo's combat ability is even better than Yuan Fei Hiruzen's, and a plan is slowly forming in Uchiha Qiye's heart. But there is one thing he is not sure, whether Yuan Fei Hiruzen is old and confused, and his selfishness and desires are infinitely expanding. Uchiha Qiye must make everyone understand the selfishness and ugliness of the Hokage lineage. This includes Hitaki Tsukumo, who is still in the dark, and all the Konoha village residents. Finally in the middle of the city, Uji's 14 waves and Qiye came to the prison in a few flashes, while the Chunin was still conscientiously looking at the door. Due to the effect of blood wheel eyes, the gatekeeper suddenly felt familiar after seeing Uchiha Qiye, but he didn't seem to remember at all. He always felt that something important was going on in his heart, but he couldn't think of it no matter how much he thought about it. Uchiha Qiye didn't talk nonsense with him, and said directly to him, sleep for a while, it's safe here. Sleeping. How can you sleep while looking at the door? Shunan's eyes widened in surprise and anger, and when he was about to intercept Uchiha Qiye, he met Uchiha Qiye's Mangekyo blood wheel eye, and he suddenly entered the hallucination. Of course, he just stood there dumbfounded and did no harm to him. Uchiha Qiye, who was still very familiar, went all the way to the bottom of the prison, and saw Hatake Tsukumo, who was still dropped from the top, still had a sad look on his face. Advertisement. Uchiha Qiye walked up to him and said, Hatake Tsukumo, I have already told Yuan Fei Hiruzen that he must let you go, but his attitude is very firm, and he must execute you. Uchiha Qiye said this because he wanted to see Hatake Tsukumo's reaction, whether he still had the will to survive. Hatake Tsukumo closed his eyes in silence, and after a while he slowly opened, if Hokage wants me to die, then I must die, no matter for any purpose, Hokage's will cannot be violated. 35. Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, this silly boy is still ignorantly allegiance to a Hokage who has completely lost Hokage's will, what he is allegiance to is only a selfish and arrogant old guy, and what he defends is not the interests of the ruler. So Uchiha Qiye told Hatake Tsukumo all his conversations in Yuan Fei Hiruzen's office, especially to Hatake Tsukumo, what is the real Hokage's will. At this time, Hatake Tsukumo's eyes, which were already more than saddened, suddenly lit up again. He actually felt that he was persuaded by Uchiha Qiye, and his resistance was gradually weakening. Uchiha Qiye said, if I don't save you, you will surely die tomorrow. Although I didn't get the 920 token that pardoned you, the current expedient measure is to release you immediately, and join the Uchiha family with me. There you can be completely protected. When Hatake Tsukumo heard this, Uchiha Qiye didn't just come to give him a report, but to rob him. Prison robbery has never happened in Konoha, is Uchiha Qiye going to cry out? If things don't work out in the end, Hatake Tsukumo will become the first prisoner in Konoha village's history, which will be haunted for thousands of years, and he struggles in his heart again. Uchiha Qiye didn't wait for him to answer, he just performed a little ninjutsu and put Hatake Tsukumo down. Chapter 417 Crazy Action. Successful prison robbery. Chapter 417 Crazy Action. Successful prison robbery. Now Hatake Tsukumo doesn't have the slightest bit of strength, because he hasn't eaten for a long time, and his flesh is ripped open by the whip, and he doesn't even have the strength to walk, so naturally he can't struggle. Uchiha Qiye directly carried Hatake Tsukumo on his back, and carried it directly from the ground to the door at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. While Chunin at the door was still in the environment of Mangekyo's blood wheel eyes, Uchiha Qiye snapped his fingers at him, and Chunin gradually woke up. As soon as he woke up, a gust of wind passed by his side, and there seemed to be a figure, but he couldn't see it at all. Uchiha Qiye did not cause any casualties in this wave of prison robbery, and there was no movement, and he directly carried the felon who was about to be executed from the underground heavenly prison. Along the way, Uchiha Qiye showed his full speed, and within a few moments, he carried Hatake Tsukumo directly into the Uchiha family. Everyone was stunned, and they couldn't even see when Uchiha Qiye came in, but everyone knew that Hatake Tsukumo, Uchiha Qiye was a prisoner. But the people of the Uchiha family are all gathered in Isshin, and it is absolutely impossible to reveal this important privacy. Uchiha Qiye put Hatake Tsukumo directly into his house, and both Nagato and Konan were equally shocked. Konan covered his mouth and said quietly, this is Hatake Tsukumo, the criminal who was about to be executed. Uchiha Qiye carefully put Hatake Tsukumo on the bed and said to Konan seriously, remember, he is not a criminal, he is the real Hokage. Advertisement. Uchiha Qiye's remarks directly made Konan and Nagato stupid, the future Hokage. What the hell is going on? Uchiha Qiye said, Konan, you Grandmaster Medical Ninjutsu, hurry up and treat him first. Konan nodded dumbly, walked to Hatake Tsukumo, and the green chakra in his hand was treating Hatake Tsukumo. Fortunately, Hatake Tsukumo only suffered some skin trauma, and he was detained in heavenly prison for a long time, malnourished, strong yin, and the whole person was very weak, and there was no fatal injury. Injuries of this magnitude are easily treatable, but within half an hour, Konan had tried his best to restore Hatake Tsukumo. At this time, Hatake Tsukumo's complexion has returned to ruddy, although he still looks weak, but it is much better than before. Konan turned his back and Nagato changed Hatake Tsukumo into a new outfit. Hatake Tsukumo looked a little better. At this time, Hatake Tsukumo seems to have a new look. The whole process has come all the way. Uchiha Qiye is wholeheartedly for Hatake Tsukumo, and even carries the risk of prison robbery. Hatake Tsukumo immediately knelt down with a thud. Shiro, thank you Uchiha Qiye for your life-saving grace. Of course, Uchiha Qiye could stand this kneeling. After all, what he really promised to do was to do his best to save his life. But he still ran over immediately and helped Hatake Tsukumo up. He said, don't be so polite. You are a hero, a ninja with the true will of fire. I am willing to become a brother with you. Hatake Tsukumo was attached, and his eyes were already filled with tears. The two were no longer polite. Konan and Nagato didn't understand what was going on, so Uchiha Qiye told everything that happened one by one. Chapter 418 Yuan Fei Hiruzen's private letters are revealed. Chapter 418 Yuan Fei Hiruzen's private letters are revealed. Both Konan and Nagato understood how selfish Yuan Fei was and completely forgot about Hokage's will, so that's fine, but at this time Uchiha Qiye seriously suspected that it was because Yuan Fei and Hiruzen were jealous of Hatake Tsukumo's talent and the power of ninjutsu, only to find an excuse to kill Hatake Tsukumo. So Uchiha Qiye asked, Hitaki Tsukumo, did Yuan Fei Hiruzen reward you when you succeeded in your mission? I remember that you have done many military exploits before, but your reputation has spread, but you have not been given special awards, things, and no promotion of positions. Although these things are all external things to Hitaki Tsukumo, because his dream has always been to inherit the will of Uo 920 Shadow and spread the spirit of Hokage, and he is not interested in those promotions at all. Hitaki Tsukumo frowned slightly, then shook his head, no, and I haven't thought about it myself at all. You must know that Hitaki Tsukumo's strength and ability are also very strong. He has worked hard in Konoha for more than 10 years, but he still has not been promoted, and he has not even been given the position of Jonin, which makes Uchiha Qiye unable to think about it. So he suspects that it is completely understandable that Yuan Fei Hiruzen is afraid of Hitaki Tsukumo, and as far as the information is understood, Hitaki Tsukumo has no reward for his credit, and he will be executed if he makes a little mistake, no matter what. It's very unreasonable anyway. So Uchiha Qiye said, so, don't you think about these things? Yuan Fei and Hiruzen have always been detached from your attitude, no matter how much you have contributed to the Konoha village, you have not gotten even the slightest improvement. But once you fail the mission once, even for the sake of your own fetters, he actually beheads you so ruthlessly, do you think about it again? Hitaki Tsukumo, who has always been passionate in his heart and pursued the will to revive Hokage, suddenly fell silent. He carefully recalled his dedication to Konoha over the years. The wrongful charge of treason, indeed, he couldn't figure it out for a while. Hitaki Tsukumo shook his head, it's true, it's not normal, but I can't figure out why Yuan Fei Hiruzen is so afraid of me and suppresses me so much, is it for private purposes? I have no intention of coveting the position of Hokage at all. Uchiha Qiye is accustomed to seeing all kinds of human affections and feelings, and when he heard Hitaki Tsukumo speak like this, he felt that this person was too simple, so Uchiha Qiye said, you have no intention of coveting, but Yuan Fei Hiruzen still thinks you are a threat. When you are really in the mood, with your prosperous people and strength, you do have the capital to compete with him. Speaking of this, Uchiha Qiye walked to the window sill, looked in the direction of Hokage's office, and continued, he has always been defensive, your strength is too strong, he thinks he may not be your opponent, and thanks to the great power, as the ruler of Konoha village, how could Yuan Fei Hiruzen not try to get you into trouble? However, you are a flawless piece of jade, and he can't find your fault from any angle. Chapter 419 The Power of Hostility is Life and Death. Chapter 419 The Power of Hostility is Life and Death. So he can only take the opportunity of this mission and impatiently charge you with treason, so that he can be safe as a Hokage in this Konoha village. After listening to Uchiha Qiye's words, Hitaki Tsukumo fell into pain. He couldn't imagine how Yuan Fei would take his life for the sake of privacy. He didn't believe it, and he couldn't accept it at all. So Hitaki Tsukumo in pain hugged his head and kept shaking, I don't believe it, I can believe it. How could such a selfish Hokage come out of our Konoha village? Uchiha Qiye turned his head and looked at Hitaki Tsukumo who was in pain. His body was trembling slightly. It was a state of intertwined pain and fear. No matter what, he couldn't believe that he was doing it for someone who was completely for himself. Hokage worked hard, and in the end, he was sent to hell by his own hands. Even if he is still thinking in hell, he will never make any struggles or make confessions for the future and great cause. If you die at the hands of the enemy, no matter how painful the body and mind are, it is understandable, because that is the power of the enemy, and it is your life and death. But the thing he has always guarded, the belief that he has always loved, actually gave him a fatal blow from behind. It was not only physical and mental pain, but also the collapse of belief. Hitaki Tsukumo pulled his hair vigorously, and the whole person fell into a feeling of being unable to extricate himself. Uchiha Qiye can understand his feelings, but still shook his head, Hitaki Tsukumo, we can only help you during this time, but you have to cheer up, because the future Hokage, our Uchiha clan will definitely push you up minus. Quote. 0. Hitaki Tsukumo has never thought about this, when he is Hokage. He must have both ability and political integrity. He is just a middle-aged man, and he has never thought about sitting in that position, and he has never thought of it. Moreover, as far as Hitaki Tsukumo's personal ability is concerned, he may not be able to do well in Hokage's position. He feels that it is even more difficult. If all this is not a matter of course, he will be pushed forward. For Konoha, who knows joy is sorrow, so Hitaki Tsukumo feels at a loss. Katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot seeking flowers. So he glanced at Uchiha Qiye strangely, what did you say? Want me to be Hokage? In fact, Uchiha Qiye has already planned all this, and for Uchiha Qiye himself, he is a character who cuts through the mess, and he is used to solving these problems. Okay, soil. Of course Uchiha Qiye knows what he is thinking about. Hitaki Tsukumo must be thinking about what to do with Yuan Fei Hiruzen. If he is ousted, will he kill Yuan Fei Hiruzen? Then Konoha will be shaken again. Hitaki Tsukumo's mind was blank at this time, because he didn't think about it, so naturally he didn't prepare, and could only say, you have to ask me to think about it, this may involve many very complicated things. Uchiha Qiye nodded earnestly and said, yes, Hitaki Tsukumo, I have also told you the conversation with Yuan Fei Hiruzen in the office. I think only you are the real ninja who can represent the will of fire, although I'm still planning, but I must have a way to push you up. Chapter 420 The Real Difference Between Mutiny and Rebellion. Chapter 420 The Real Difference Between Mutiny and Rebellion. Uchiha Qiye said to him, Don't worry about it, I will arrange everything for you properly, and when you need to go up, you can go up. Hitaki Tsukumo knew that Uchiha Qiye was his savior, and Hitaki Tsukumo, who had been in the arena for decades, was naturally thinking about whether Uchiha Qiye was using himself as the September 20th flag of the rebellion, but it was reasonable to hear him according to the narrative, as well as the orthodox pursuit and understanding of Hokage's will. Hitaki Tsukumo believes that Uchiha Qiye is right. Maybe the current Konoha needs to be rectified. If Yuan-Fei Hiruzen is allowed to develop like this, then Hokage's will completely dissipate and become a totalitarian village. This is not what Hitaki Tsukumo wants to see. However, as time progressed, Hitaki Tsukumo felt more and more that Hokage's will was gradually dissipating, and all this happened gradually after Yuan-Fei Hiruzen took office. It's like boiling a frog in warm water. Although people always feel that something is wrong, they can't tell what is wrong. After a long period of time, people gradually forget the will of Hokage. Uchiha Qiye said, I know there are still many things to think about and many challenges in your heart, but I will let you see step by step how hypocritical and selfish the Hokage lineage is. As long as you are determined, our cooperation will be seamless, and you will be able to become Hokage and truly develop the will of fire. Therefore, it is a very safe and secure act for Uchiha Qiye to hide Hitaki Tsukumo in his base camp, as long as Uchiha Qiye stops the wanted plan of the old man Hokage in Konoha within this period of time. So Hitaki Tsukumo chose to believe in Uchiha Qiye, but he still needed actual evidence to prove that Yuan-Fei's Hokage line had indeed gone so far that it was time for him to defect. But Uchiha Qiye is confident that he hides Hitaki Tsukumo in his own family. No matter what, those people will not be able to find it. Even if the Uchiha family is to be searched, the place where Hitaki Tsukumo is hidden is beyond the reach of outsiders. Konan and Nagato are Uchiha Qiye's right-hand man, and the things he explained and instructed will naturally be done well, so they all agreed. At this time, Uchiha Qiye said to Konan and Zanman, Hitaki Tsukumo has suffered a lot these days, his body and spirit are still very weak, and he needs time to meditate, and I have a lot of things to do. Please take care of you. 35. Uchiha Qiye went out, leaving Konan, Nagato and Hitaki Tsukumo, who probably won't go out again these days. Hitaki Tsukumo raised his head in pain and confusion, and saw Uchiha Qiye's serious eyes, the spirit of anger and uplifting words, all of which touched his sorrowful mind. Hitaki Tsukumo, who was going to be executed, was robbed and survived by Uchiha Qiye. The news will soon spread among Konoha, and Hitaki Tsukumo will be issued a red notice. Whether it's a tunnel or a secret room, just stuff it anywhere, it's impossible for Konoha's people to find him at 2.9.